When you're right on the water and you get that push, this is not from rainfall. This is strictly from the winds pushing the water. You see, they're used to it here. All those buildings, or most of them, I should say, are on stilts, but unfortunate for that truck that did not get out in time. Terrible, terrible flooding there. Of course, this whole area, is just surrounded by water, including us here in Morgan City, Louisiana. We are absolutely on an island, and we have Jim Cantore live in New Orleans, and we also have Justin Michaels live in Baton Rouge. They both have been very quiet this morning. They are the lucky ones, some not so lucky here in St. Mary Parish, and over next to us in Terrebonne Parish, there have been water rescues for some people who did not leave. The Coast Guard was out there trying to get them by boat and by air. They were having some difficulty. So let's show you where we are here in Morgan City, because it is quite an impressive sight. We are standing on their flood wall. This is the Atchafalaya River. And you see that southeastward push is actually causing some whitecaps on the river. Everything's getting pushed up the river. Where you see these pieces of wood, that is where the river should stop. But it is all along. You see there's a garbage can. We can flip it around and show you some benches as well. This is an area where people should be walking. And I also want to show you, I know that this is going right into the rain and the wind, but look how far down the wall goes. And you can actually see those flood walls, those big metal squares. Those can move. And that is all stopping the Atchafalaya River from getting into town. You can look over the wall here. Again, we're at about 17 feet high, completely dry. So can you imagine if they did not have this wall, what the town would look like? All of that water would be in this town. So they are completely protected here from the Atchafalaya River. What they are concerned about is the flash flooding. We've had on and off rain. We don't have any power. The power went out at about 8 o'clock last night, came back on briefly, and has been out since about 3:45 this morning. So absolutely no power in town and no reports of flooding, but we've seen little debris here and there. A branch that has come down, a window from an old building has fallen out. But overall, it's going to be the rain and that water rise, Justin, that is going to be problematic here in Morgan City and all throughout the southeast. What has it been like in Baton Rouge? Have you seen a change in the winds? Because they've been getting gustier over the last couple hours for us.
Yeah, they certainly have been getting gustier here too, Steph. I clocked about a 25-mile-per-hour gust right here on the street in downtown Baton Rouge earlier this morning. We now at a Tiger Stadium at LSU. They had a 60-mile-per-hour gust at the stadium earlier today. So the winds are picking up. We know the rain is coming over the next few hours, and once that rain starts, I guess the forecast is it's not going to stop for quite a long time. Could we see 12 to 18 inches of rain, maybe even more than that? That is the expectation. That is flooding rain, so the city is prepared. They've been preparing for days. Let's talk to Mike Bressett over here. Mike, you've lived in this city your entire life. You dealt with flooding a month ago. What are your concerns about Tropical Storm Barry and the rain that's coming?
The same thing as what happened last month. I had flooding. All the basements downtown flooded. I have a basement in my building, and I had $59,000 worth of damage. Just got the bid in, and I've been preparing. I've got drains, and I've been preparing, putting all kind of weights and big rubber mats over the drains so it won't come up again. And clean out all of my gutters, everything around the building. A lot of preparation, tons of preparation.
When you're talking about 12 to 18 inches of rain, the expectation for this storm may be even more. Could we see 2 feet of rain? It's possible here in Baton Rouge. And you think back to 2016. Yeah. Do you have concerns? Do you still have some shell shock? Some people say they have shell shock from 2016 and the intense flooding you had back then.
Yeah, it was these roads down here, which you're looking at. We're at the top of on 2nd Street. We're at the top of the hill. They were cars flooded down towards the bottom, up to the roof. And the infrastructure can't take it down here.
Sure.
The sewage backs up, because the river's so high. That's never happened. So concerned about that.
Have you seen a change over the years? You're a lifelong resident. Have you seen these storms get worse? Have you seen the flooding get worse?
There's no doubt there's global warming going on. I've heard one of my daughters is really into it, and she was telling me in 30 years, Baton Rouge is going to be the new ocean front for Louisiana.
Well, let's hope that.
We're way below sea level, most of this, and I've been a hunter and a fisher my whole life. All the marshes down there, they're below sea level. That would be something if that happened.
Mike Brissett, we appreciate your perspective and your time. Thank you so much.
All right. Good talking to you guys.
And coming up next after this short break on the Weather Channel, we're going to hear from the National Hurricane Center what is coming from Tropical Storm Barry. You're going to want to stay tuned through this break. We'll be right back.
If you have moderate to severe psoriasis, little things can be a big deal. That's why there's Otezla. Otezla is not a cream. It's a pill that treats plaque psoriasis differently. With Otezla, 75% clearer skin is achievable. Don't use if you're allergic to Otezla. It may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Otezla is associated with an increased risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts, or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Upper respiratory tract infection and headache may occur. Tell your doctor about your medicines and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Otezla, show more of you.
Discover new San Pellegrino Essenza, a twist of Mediterranean flavors with the gentle bubbles of San Pellegrino. Add a twist of flavor. San Pellegrino Essenza, tastefully Italian.
Now you can make any morning of the week feel like the weekend with Jimmy Dean Simple Scrambles, made fresh with 2 real eggs, sausage, and cheese, and ready in seconds.
Why don't you put a Sunday morning shine on tomorrow morning's breakfast?
When I am helping a customer, I need to treat everybody the way I would want them to treat my family. I am a country girl, so that's what we do. I want them to know that I really want to help you. That's what I'm here for. People may not remember what you say, but they always remember how you make them feel. My name is Lola, and I am proud to keep your car running newer, longer.
Fixed right, priced right, right on time. The Triple Promise, only at Firestone Complete Auto Care.
I want it.
I can't believe it.
That car brought his karaoke machine.
Nothing but a heartache.
No, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico.
Tell me why I never wanted to say.
Go, Kevin! Go, Kevin!
Believe it, Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Buy One, Take One is back, starting at just $12.99 at Olive Garden. Join us for a new favorite today. Then bring one home for tomorrow on us. Buy one, take one. For a limited time, only at Olive Garden.
Want a relaxing pedicure?
Relaxing pedicure? My feet get so dry and cracked, I need serious relief. That's why I use O'Keeffe's for healthy feet. Guaranteed relief for extremely dry, cracked feet. Thanks to O'Keeffe's, I got my feet back.
Try Drive Up at Target. Delivered to your car door so you can do more. More refill. More recharge. More relax. Target run and done.
Barry is a very slow-moving and strengthening storm. Hurricane warnings are up, and both wind and water will be life-threatening hazards at the coast and inland. Torrential rains could flood entire communities near the coast and eventually hundreds of miles inland for days after landfall. To stay alive, stay out of the water. Don't drive onto any water-covered roads. Turn around. Don't drown. If you're trapped in your home by floodwaters, call 911 and stay out of storm surge by evacuating as instructed by local officials. And watch out for falling trees, which can take out power as strong winds move across areas where the soil is already saturated. Don't underestimate this storm. That could be a deadly mistake. Let's get ready, stay dry, and live to help one another through the aftermath of whatever comes our way.
And that was our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb. He used to be in charge of the National Hurricane Center. He now works here at the Weather Channel. We want to go to the current director of the National Hurricane Center. Ken Graham is joining us this morning. Director, thank you for being with us. I know you're very, very busy. I first want to start off with that center of circulation. Is it ashore? Is it still offshore? Are the hurricane hunters looking for that center? What's the latest with that?
Yeah, Stephanie, they're out there looking for that center. It's an interesting situation because it's such a large center. It's just part of it's onshore, part of it's offshore, and you actually have these little spins rotating around the actual center. So it's a really strange structure, and there's not a lot of precipitation around that center. So it's a little confusing to see exactly where it is. So it's kind of halfway, but the reality is there's a ton of moisture still out in the Gulf of Mexico, and those rain bands are really getting cranked up. So still, it's still going to be a big rain event here.
It's still a wind event, right? I mean, this thing, the winds are far stretched out, and power outages could be a major issue combined with that rain.
Yeah, it really can, because if you think about all the rain, you start getting the saturation of the soil. And it's interesting, too, and we have to talk about it, because even though the center doesn't have a lot of precipitation, the wind is there. I mean, we got the ground sensors, we got the aircraft data, and the wind is there, 70 miles an hour. So if you're going to saturate the ground and then have 70-mile-an-hour winds, that's going to be a big problem for power outages, not just around the center, but these rain bands as well. We've already had tornado warnings out, so even in the rain bands, you can get some of those high winds. So dangerous winds and water is just a big event.
How do you see this evolving as it goes over land? You know, I was talking to Cantori's like, Abrams, I bet this tightens up a little bit over land. Do you foresee that happening as well, or how long do you think it'll be able to hang on to its strength? Because this thing, I'm telling you, it's been really, you know, holding on to itself since it started back in Missouri.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it wasn't even the best environment for it to get developed. So, you know, Barry kept developing despite that environment. So, yeah, as we move onshore, I think we're going to have those characteristics. But this is what happens. You know, we got such a slow movement. You're going to see those rain bands stay over the same areas for a prolonged period of time and cause some of that flooding. But sometimes these tropical lows, once they move on the land at nighttime, they can kind of constrict and really produce some intense rainfall. So it's not over even after landfall. We got several days of dealing with this throughout Louisiana and even Mississippi, moving northward into Arkansas.
And how much does the fact that it's been so wet in the south play a part in this tropical storm when it is moving ashore? Doesn't that play a pretty significant role, having so much moisture even down in the ground with these things?
Yeah, it makes a big difference because we've had so much rain in a lot of these areas. A little bit more rain can cause the flooding, and that's why we're talking about the rivers. I mean, the runoff is going to be incredible. A little bit more rain is going to run off into the rivers and the creeks. You're going to see some places where, you know, you're going to have small bayous and canals that normally drain that water. It's going to come down so fast, those are going to fill up really quick. So just because you're not necessarily on that river, even other places you can flood. So it's just so important to stay safe and really keep an eye on where that water is.
You know, Director Graham, how long do you think that surge threat is going to last, because this is such a slow mover? Not only Louisiana, but, you know, all along the coast with that southerly push.
Yeah, you know, it's going to last a while because, you know, if you look at the storm surge, we're getting reports along the Mississippi coast and also the North Shore of Lake Pontchartrain of some of that flooding. So some of it's occurring now. But something that's interesting as we approach with future times is this center moves northward. Even if the center's in the northern part of the state, if the winds are still strong enough, that onshore flow can keep some of these values high. So just because you're moving onshore and just because you're moving to the north, that wind can continue to keep that water high for several days. So the danger remains well after it makes landfall.
As does that severe weather threat, right? So we don't want everyone to kind of watch it today and be like, well, it'll be gone by tomorrow. It's moving at 5 miles an hour. We don't anticipate it really to move any faster and then still bring up into Arkansas. It's like I want to give them a heads up what's coming their way.
Yeah, got to talk about it. These tropical systems aren't just coastal. You know, when we close our eyes, we think of a hurricane. You know, we think of the beach, we think of the coast, but well inland could get the heavy rain. And these rain bands, I mean, it's interesting to look at the center. If you look back in time, Stephanie, the right front quadrant, 90% of your tornadoes occur there, and especially in those rain bands. So right now, Mobile and Jackson County in Mississippi, those places could get not only the heavy rain and the rain bands, but also the severe weather threat and with the tornadoes now and going into the next couple days.
All right, Director Ken Graham, we really appreciate you coming on. We know how busy you are, and I'm sure, you know, we are going to be checking back in with you as this whole very slow-moving system progresses. Let's check back in with Jim Cantori. You know, Jim, were there any water spouts on Pontchartrain over the last couple of days? Speaking of that severe weather.
No, it wasn't really. It was more stratiform rain or showers, if you will, kind of pushing across as opposed to convective in any way, shape, or form. And that's the other thing, too, like the director was talking about. I not only think that the coast may deal with those, with the onshore band, but also inland. Once this gets inland up into Mississippi, maybe even as far north as Memphis, we have that severe weather risk with tornadoes. All right, guys, again, this is the Bourbon Street Drinkery, which isn't every place here, frankly. You can see the two doors that they have here, but you look how they've blocked it up. A little piece of plastic in the back, and then a heavy pound, 20-pound bag of sand that's going to hold this in case the water comes up.
Pringles Wavy, with a big crunch and totally different flavors. They're not really Pringles. Just like that's not really Daddy.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Pringles Wavy. They're not Pringles.
This is Hal. This is Hal's heart. It's been broken and put back together. This is also Hal's heart. And this is Hal's relief, knowing he's covered. This is Hal's heart, and it's beating better than ever. This is what Medicare from Blue Cross Blue Shield does for Hal. And with easy access to quality health care, imagine what we can do for you. This is the benefit of Blue.
I count on Blue Emu to give me relief for the arthritis in my hands. Forget the imitators. There's only one Blue Emu. Get American-made Blue Emu. It works fast and you won't stink.
We're Oscar Mayer Deli Fresh, and you may know us from your very first sandwich, your mammoth masterpiece, and whatever this was. Because we make our meat with the good of the deli and no artificial preservatives. Make every sandwich count with Oscar Mayer Deli Fresh.
Parents have a way of imagining the worst, especially when your easily distracted teenager has the car. At Subaru, we're taking on distracted driving with sensors that alert you when your eyes are off the road. The all-new Subaru Forester. The safest Forester ever.
With worsening weather patterns, an aging vulnerable power grid, and the growing risk of cyber terrorism, power outages are a part of life now. That can be stressful because we depend on power more than ever. When the power goes out, we lose everything. We can't even charge our smartphones. Now more than ever, you need a Generac automatic home standby generator. With Generac, power stays on in your house, even if you're not at home. Generac's automatic home standby generators start at just $19.99. Special financing is available with affordable monthly payments. Plus, with the Generac mobile link, you can check on your generator anytime. Call or go online to schedule your free in-home assessment. And if you act right now, you'll receive our 7-year extended limited warranty, a $695 value, absolutely free. Control your power and control your life with a Generac.
This is epic!
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got a severe weather threat.
We are live on the ground. Right now, it's coming down.
The Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 79 degrees under sunny skies. Today, sunny, high 88. Winds west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, mainly clear skies. Low 75. Winds west-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunday, sunny skies. High 89. Winds northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Dude. Looking at a camera from Mark Sudduth out of Waveland, Mississippi. That is where we have watched really all morning this band of heavy rain that continues in this area to produce even occasional special marine warnings. But Dauphin Island right now getting crushed. Mobile getting crushed as well. They've had a thunderstorm wind gust there at 49 miles per hour at a weather flow site near the Buccaneer Yacht Club. So 49 miles an hour. That's within 1 mile of the coast. So as Director Ken Graham was talking about with Stephanie just last hour, talking about how the rain bands themselves can bring down some of the wind energy. That's exactly what we're seeing happening there. The big question was, does that band work its way to the west? Does it stay there? Does it just move north as we go through the next couple of days? Guys, we are on Bourbon Street. And as Bourbon Street goes, of course, the nights are big. The mornings are a little quieter. They kind of reload, if you will. But as they say here, it's always 5 o'clock somewhere, right? I was doing this last time here at the Bourbon Street Drinkery. One of the ways, of course, protecting the water to get in. If you remember last Wednesday, we had tons of water in this area because of the flooding. We had 3 inches an hour. That overwhelms the pumps here in the city. They handle 1 inch an hour for the first hour and then a ½ inch an hour for the preceding hours after that. And that's it. That's raining at 3 inches an hour, which is really the game here in New Orleans. We're not worried about levee failure or overtopping the Mississippi River. As a matter of fact, they've brought the forecast down to 17 feet now from 20 feet just a couple of days ago. Huge difference. Huge difference. But either way, you can see this plastic bag being held in here by the concrete. There's 2 doors at this particular restaurant, and so they're hoping that all this holds any water back that comes in. But Stephanie, you know as well as I do, it's not within the realm of our guidance to know exactly where this heavy rain sets up and where it is going to be. But we do know from where the storm is and where it's going to go that at least this risk is with us probably through Sunday. Steph, back to you.
Right, exactly, Jim. So that's what we have to watch here. What we also know is that big, massive flood walls certainly protect cities, like the one we're standing on right now. This is the Atchafalaya River, okay? And the water is getting pushed in, and you see white caps on it, thanks to that southeasterly flow. And the river is overflowing. It's been overflowed for a while. You see these moorings, these pilings, if you will, right here? That's basically where the river should stop. There's a garbage can that's right over there, you can see, in the water. And if we turn around, I know we're going to get water into the lens, but I want to show you, see benches, all these areas should be places people can walk. And the flood wall, you see how far it goes down, protects the whole city. And you see those floodgates, those big metal squares, those are doors that can open and close. All of this has kept the Atchafalaya River out of the city as you look over, completely dry. If it wasn't for that, the whole city would be inundated and underwater. They built this wall after a flood in the 70s so that they could really fortify the city. So for us here, it's going to be a flash flood issue, not a river issue. Dr. Postel, of course, this has been ongoing for a while because of everything that happened in the Midwest and all the rain that we had. The snowmelt in the Midwest combined, it comes all the way down this way.
Yeah, and the thing is, for many in Louisiana, the heaviest rain is going to come after the designated landfall because so much of the rain, the bad weather, is south of where that circulation center is. Let's look at the weather maps and I can show you what I mean. So roughly the center of circulation of the area's lowest pressure is here. Well, we often say don't follow that because in many cases, the worst weather is distantly removed from it. And you can see that there's a lot of bad weather here just offshore. But notice that there's a lot of bad weather right now across parts of Mississippi and Alabama. I'll get to that in a second. But the circulation center somewhere in here, there's really not much rain there. There's wind aloft, no doubt about that, and some gusty winds, perhaps 40 to 50 miles per hour near the surface. But there really isn't much rain. And the rain being the big story, we have to really track that because even, as I mentioned, in Mississippi and Alabama, we are watching some significant rain move on shore. A band that is essentially stationary. Several inches of rain have fallen already since midnight. Several more yet to come today. Lots of flooding, unfortunately, likely coming to that part of the Gulf Coast. Farther to the west, over Louisiana, as I mentioned, not much rain, but we are seeing some significant wind gusts. Homa gusting to 51 miles per hour. New Orleans, 25 gusts to 38. So tropical storm conditions in spots here and there, even where it is not raining for now. But we know that that rain profile is going to change because as all that rain and even gustier winds than that move onshore, the worst weather for many in Louisiana will come, we think, maybe later on today, tonight, and into tomorrow. Just a quick thing. Here's some wind reports, 40, 58, 64. So we've seen tropical storm force wind gusts, and that will be the theme, we think, going forward. There will be gusts of 50 to 60 in spots closer to the coast later on today. So find your spot on the map. These are where the peak wind gusts, we think, are going to be. But let's time out real quick. When the heaviest rain for many in Louisiana comes. Well, look at this. By 6 o'clock tonight, it's only about until then that we see the heavy stuff roll on board, and it sticks around for a while. We could see some places that get well more than a foot of rain, lots of flooding. And here's some, basically an outline of saying who needs to really worry about all this rain. Pretty much everybody in Louisiana, Mississippi, and areas nearby, and even in southern Arkansas. Jim, back to you.
All right, Postel, again, we've got reports of a utility pole down in the commercial building on the 10,000 block of Wedgwood Drive in Metairie, Louisiana, which is a suburb of New Orleans. Okay, we're on Bourbon Street. Certainly a little quieter than we would normally find coming up. But guys, stick around. Much more to come here. We will have Justin Michaels joining us from Baton Rouge. Reynolds Wolf on Lake Pontchartrain coming up.
So now, Dish has over 80,000 on-demand movies and shows. 80,000. Why? I mean, it would take you years to get through 80,000. Thing is, it's not about 80,000. It's about one. That one movie you saw that one time on a first date with that one girl. That's why.
Dish. Tuned in to you.
This has potassium. The same amount as this. It's a post-workout snack you don't have to peel. V8. The V is for vegetables. Drink some.
When you start with a better hot dog from Oscar Mayer,
That's no way to treat a dog.
you can do no wrong.
Where did you learn that? The internet.
Yeah.
With no artificial preservatives or added nitrates or nitrites, it's all for the love of hot dogs.
Feed your imagination. Feed your excitement. Feed your hunger. When heroes get hungry, they get the $12 extra large superhero pizza at Papa John's.
Well, it finally happened, Zachary. Somebody burned down my she shed.
Nobody burned down your she shed, Cheryl.
Well, my she shed's on fire.
Your she shed was struck by lightning.
Zachary, is my she shed covered by State Farm?
Your she shed's covered, Cheryl.
You hear that, Victor? I'm getting a new she shed.
She shear?
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful news.
Home insurance trusted by more people than any other. State Farm.
Sometimes bipolar I disorder makes you feel like you can do it all. But mania, such as unusual changes in your mood, activity, or energy levels, can leave you on shaky ground. Help take control by asking your healthcare provider about Vraylar. Vraylar treats acute mania of bipolar I disorder. Vraylar significantly reduces overall manic symptoms and was proven in adults with mixed episodes who have both mania and depression. Vraylar should not be used in elderly patients with dementia due to increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about fever, stiff muscles, or confusion, which may mean a life-threatening reaction, or uncontrollable muscle movements, which may be permanent. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. High cholesterol, weight gain, high blood sugar, and decreased white blood cells, both of which can be serious or fatal, dizziness upon standing, falls, seizures, impaired judgment, heat sensitivity, and trouble swallowing may occur. Ask if Vraylar can help you get on track.
Discover new San Pellegrino Essenza, a twist of Mediterranean flavors with the gentle bubbles of San Pellegrino. Add a twist of flavor. San Pellegrino Essenza, tastefully Italian.
A lot of these towns are getting hammered with the rain.
They're ready for that first big influx of water. We're going to be ready for it.
Hey, a good Saturday morning, everybody, from Bourbon Street here in downtown New Orleans. Will we pull a repeat of last Wednesday when the pumps were overwhelmed with rainfall rates up to 3 inches per hour. That's not how this city handles rain. It's 1 inch per hour for the first hour, half inch after that. Either way, Barry crawling, and I mean literally crawling ashore here, with it being what we call south side loaded. A lot of that precipitation still on the south side, but there has been a persistent band over to the east through Mobile, through much of southern Mississippi, that they are getting crushed with that rain. Also gusty winds up to 57 miles per hour. We've had 50 so far at New Orleans International, where Stephanie was in Morgan City, Louisiana. We have gusted as high as 57 miles per hour, and so far Entergy reporting Louisiana power outages now up to about 62,500. So, you know, as things go, this is going to be one of those storms you're going to have to be patient with. But to help us with that patience, we've got live TV coverage out there. Reynolds Wolf, of course, on the western end of Lake Pontchartrain. We'll see how the waves were now compared to where they were yesterday. And, of course, Justin Michaels is in Baton Rouge, which, according to the guidance right now, is one of the areas that is predicting some of the heavier rain, potentially up to a foot. But it's all about watching where these bands set up. Our low pressure, our Barry, still sitting offshore, but it will come onshore potentially later on this afternoon or even tonight. And should it certainly consolidate, I think it'll be a much better presentation on radar than what we see now. The problem is, as it moves ashore, especially on that east side, we could find even the potential for tornadoes and severe weather over the next couple of days. So that's how things are looking. This is what we know. You can see again down Bourbon Street here, certainly things quieter than normal, but this is the time of the day typically where this lively area kind of reloads, if you will, to set the stage for tonight. Occasionally even some breaks in the overcast have brought in the sunshine. And frankly, I'd rather have the wind and the rain because it's hot and humid here on Bourbon Street this morning. All right, let's bring in our hurricane expert, Dr. Greg Postel, to talk a little bit about what is happening with this. Again, Greg, last hour we talked about this center with multiple vortices rotating around it, still just kind of lumbering on shore. It's almost 2 steps forward, 1 step back in terms of its progress toward the shore. But what do you, I mean, Greg, take us into, let's say, 24 hours from now. What do we see? We have a center that's potentially on shore, something that's maybe consolidated a little bit more. Is there any way of knowing where the heaviest rain is going to set up?
Exactly, there is no way to know that, but I do believe most of the state of Louisiana will be dealing with a lot of heavy rain 24 hours from now, tomorrow morning. Looking at it now, it looks like most of it is offshore of Louisiana, right out in here. But for residents all the way up through Shreveport, down to Lake Charles, Lafayette, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, it is going to be raining very hard in about, well, certainly by tomorrow morning and likely before that. But I don't want to leave out residents and folks in Mississippi and Alabama right now because a lot of heavy rain is rolling in there now. Several inches have already fallen since midnight. Several more to come. The winds are not that strong here, but it is the rain and the potential for flooding all the way from Gulfport through Gulf Shores, Alabama. So this is a fairly narrow band, but it is nearly stationary, is likely to be in place for many hours to come with a lot of heavy rain. Fortunately, not that much wind, but a flooding threat will continue in that region. Farther to the west, where basically or anywhere closer to the center of circulation, we have some stronger winds, but hardly any rain. Look at Houma, Louisiana, sustained 39, gust to 51. We have some video actually from Houma, Louisiana right now that we can check out and show you what the conditions are like there. There's some, signs moving around a little bit. There's some gusty winds and the trees blowing in the background. But overall, we are seeing tropical storm force winds here and there across the region. You can see the trees kind of rolling around in the back. This is a 20 to 30 mile per hour sustained wind. In some cases, a little bit more than that in exposed areas. With gusts, we've seen over 50 miles per hour in spots and at times. So this is the kind of condition that is representative of some of the windier places in southern Louisiana. But it's not that much of a wind story right now. It is really all about the rain. So we have to be watching that very carefully because as Jim and I were talking, and Steph and everybody else talking so far this morning, look at all of this rain offshore, and even some stronger winds too are lurking offshore. Those are on oil rigs at elevated altitudes, some cases over 100 feet, so those winds are a little bit higher than what we'll see on land. But regardless, the heavier rain and even some stronger wind yet to come on board across parts of Louisiana. This is how strong the winds we expect to see during the next 24 to 36 hours. You know, in some of these areas shaded in orange, 30 to 50 to maybe even 65 mile per hour wind gusts are possible. And surrounding that, definitely wind that can knock out power and knock down some trees. So that will be something to contend with going forward. Here's the forecast real quick. You can see that, as Jim said, this thing is south loaded, at least south of Louisiana loaded. And that's when Louisiana will get their worst weather, likely later on tonight and tomorrow. But again, it's still raining really hard farther to the east over Mississippi and Alabama. So it's a broad system with all kinds of impacts. We've talked about the rain and the flooding threat, which goes on through tomorrow, likely through Monday across this region, where areas in red and orange expect to see significant flooding. And here's why. Because we have a lot of rain yet to come. And in some cases, it will be measured in feet. I guarantee you there will be locally higher amounts than this, and in some cases, maybe double what you see on that map. Jim, back to you.
Yeah, so based on what Greg just showed, if you were watching that and you're in New Orleans like I am, you see that our main threat isn't till tonight. All right? And that's if the guidance is right. That's one run of one model this hour. That model comes in every hour, by the way. All right, let's find out how it's affecting business. Robert Youngblood, who is a chef at the Real Sonata. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Absolutely.
We appreciate that. He told me he's got some coffee made, which has made my crew happy. Let's talk, how has this affected you guys so far?
Well, basically, you know, the hotel was running about 50% occupancy. So with the storm coming in, you know, a lot of people just being precautious, pretty much getting out of town. So now we're below 30%. Like I said, most of the details we got as far as the airport, that was really backed up with flights being delayed. Right now, the people that we do have, we actually still had a wedding in town last night, so we were able to do one wedding.
Oh, nice.
So I guess they decided they were going to get married regardless. So, but as far as business
they say
overall,
it's good luck.
I guess
Robert.
so. You know, we're kind of used to it though. You know, basically, people are just kind of waiting it out now. You know, you can see the streets are kind of empty. For the most part.
So, you know, as we kind of look behind us here, what would this normally look like? I mean, you know, obviously it's the nightlife that really fires up Bourbon Street. But in the morning, you start seeing people come out. It's their weekend. They've come here, right?
Absolutely. You know, and people love to come to New Orleans. You know, like I said, they're pretty much the people that are here. They're going to stay here, hunker down, just kind of wait it out. And just hopefully we'll just have a quick blowover, basically, you know, and hopefully not a whole lot of flooding. So it's more about just, you know, how much rain we're going to get and, you know, how much do we flood.
So with Barry in mind, did you prepare a special dish with Barry in mind? I'm just, you know.
Not exactly. Actually, when these things come in, we actually still want to stay open to keep, you know, have stuff available for the public, for the people in the hotel. So we kind of limit the menu a little bit, you know, have a few people stay in the hotel like myself overnight, you know, have about 4 or 5 employees.
Yeah, the staff ready to go right on hand.
Have a staff ready to go, and we're still going to serve you and do the best we can with it. So.
But you're not happy about it. You'd rather not have to deal with tropics.
Oh, I'll get another day off. It's all right. I'm fine.
Robert Youngblood, I appreciate it, Robert.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks for talking to us. Hopefully things will come and go without any kind of big event through here. But again, guys, you know, based on what we see, you know, the center may come ashore, but the impacts for New Orleans and surrounding areas may be tonight and tomorrow. We may have bigger impacts, and I want that to be your takeaway from all of this. So unfortunately, Robert's wishing for a quick exit of this. I don't think that's going to happen. The issues, if any, will be through tomorrow. All right, let's go up to Lake Pontchartrain. If you know New Orleans, you know that on the south side, it's the Mississippi River. On the north side, it's Lake Pontchartrain. And in between that, we are the bowl known as New Orleans. All right, yesterday, we had an east-northeast wind. I'm not exactly sure where you are, Reynolds, but yesterday, if you're at that yacht club or marina, those waves were cranking. How they doing today, buddy? Yes, you are at the same spot.
I got to tell you right now, we've gone from waves that were really in several feet. Right now, it's like several inches in terms of the wave. Wave action's changed completely. I mean, yesterday there were some that were actually overtopping over here where you happen to have the New Canal Lighthouse. You had swells that were actually going up, touching right at the very bottom of the cement, but then some waves would actually overlap, go right over that fence there. I'll tell you, I mean, it really is kind of interesting how much things have calmed down considerably. Still, levels are fairly high. We had a member of the Army Corps of Engineers yesterday who told us that the levels that we have here pretty much how it's been for well over 100 days. But the problem that we can have is more of the wind picking up, more of the wave action. In fact, let's go back and look at our little time machine. We call it video that we had just yesterday to give you an idea of just what a contrast it was. Now it's relatively serene. At that point yesterday, it was a raging tempest. We had big waves that were coming up at times, actually going over much of the cement that you see right here, right along the shoreline. You had a flock of people also out here, folks that call this area home. They were seeing just the spectacle, and that truly is what it was. But for the time being, the wind has shifted a bit, relatively quiet. But remember, folks, that is not going to be the way. This is not going to be status quo. We are going to see more changes as the system comes farther north. It's going to bring more wave action, certainly here. The rain, sure, that's going to be a problem. And at the same time, it's not going to be a problem just here in Louisiana, but for many others across the region back up into the mid-Mississippi Valley. For a little bit, for those of you who happen to be around other parts of America, not as familiar with New Orleans or with Louisiana, look over here. You'll notice that you have this nice green hill, and on the other side, you can see on just the top of these houses, that is one of your levees right there. Now, Rodney, if we bring the camera a little bit more to our right over in this direction, not sure if you can make it out, but you'll see a blue building, and then just to the left of that, well, you have one of the floodgates that was sealed up just yesterday, and there it will stay until we get, again, the all clear. But, folks, again, as Jim mentioned, this is something that's going to not just take several hours. It's going to be several days, and it will be affecting so many people. So for the very latest and what you can expect on you and your friends and family and how to stay safe, we're going to guide you through it. We're all in this together. No question. But for now, Jim, other than a little bit of a breeze, it is relatively quiet. Let's go to another body of water. We're going to go back over on the other side of New Orleans, over to the Mississippi, follow the Mississippi River all the way up to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the state capital. And there, we're going to find our national correspondent, Justin Michaels. Justin, what's the state of things right now in Baton Rouge?
I'll tell you what, we have power outages, Reynolds, that are mounting. In fact, over the course of the last hour or so, we've seen them go from 7,000 customers without power to about 8,800 in East Baton Rouge Parish. Of course, parishes are how they do counties in Louisiana, and this is the parish where Baton Rouge, Louisiana sits. East Baton Rouge is the parish name. 8,800 customers without power. We're watching those tick up, and that's because of the winds. We really haven't seen any rain all day today. Some spitting rain coming down, but nothing measurable. In fact, you can see the ground is completely dry. What we do have, though, are those winds. I clocked with the anemometer here, a little wind gauge, about a 25-mile-per-hour gust over the last hour or so. We keep getting really gusty winds coming in. Earlier today, we had a 60-mile-per-hour gust at Tiger Stadium at LSU. So the winds are certainly ramping up here. Now, what's eventually going to ramp up over the next couple hours is the rain, and that is the big concern here in Baton Rouge. We're in the 12 to 18-inch range. Could we see that much rain? Could we see more than that? That is the big concern. So this city had a massive sandbagging effort over the last couple days. That ended at 7 o'clock last night. They also have all sorts of resources pre-positioned, ready to go, roadblocks, places they know that are absolutely going to flood, that flood just during a typical thunderstorm. They already have resources there. We've seen police officers who are out driving around. That is not the norm. The car you just saw drive past me, we're not seeing many people out in Baton Rouge. People are certainly heeding the warnings here and staying home, sheltering in place when they can. People have been walking their dogs a little bit, trying to get out before the rain, but other than that, we haven't seen too many people. Here's one of those big gusts coming in right now. Let's see what we got. It's about 20 as we send it back to Jim down in New Orleans. Yeah, Jim, that was about 20 right there, that gust. So certainly not what we saw earlier today, but we know that the winds are going to continue to ramp up. And then we have the worst part of that, Jim, and that's the rain. The thing that people still have the shell shock from that 26 inches of rain in 48 hours they got back in 2016. A lot of worry here. Are they going to experience the same kind of flooding now? People are preparing for that, Jim. To you now.
And that's and that is a very valid concern. I'm glad you brought that up, Justin, because that was kind of a no-name tropical system. It was one that was trying to get its act together. Okay, it could have easily been a depression or whatever. We won't go into the details of that. But the problem is anything that sits over one area, especially with tropical moisture, and we know the dry air that's here now will eventually fill in. So there's going to be a lot more water than what is stated here. Dr. Greg Postel, let's talk about this, because a lot of people think, oh, okay, well, once it's on shore, we're done. We don't have to worry about anything anymore. That's probably not the case for another 48 hours or more afterward, right?
That's exactly right. And let's go to the radar pictures right now, because it's very possible that the center, well, at least one of them anyway, because this may have had several of them, is actually inland already here in southern Louisiana with really not much rain. Don't let that deceive you, because there is a lot of rain in other parts of the storm that are either ongoing or yet to come. The part that's ongoing here is in Mississippi and Alabama, where a nearly stationary rain band is rolling across the region. Several inches of rain have fallen since midnight, several more yet to come, flooding likely there. And across parts of Louisiana, we're not seeing a whole lot of rain yet. That is going to come, trust me. A lot of this stuff is still offshore that is going to come into Louisiana later on today and tonight and tomorrow. This is one model, but it is a representative sort of simulation showing that a lot of rain yet to move all the way through Louisiana and southern Mississippi. Now, this is tomorrow afternoon. We have a long way to go with a lot of rain yet to fall, and that means flooding potential extremely high across this region. Find your spot on the map. This rainfall total may be measured in feet when all said and done. We'll leave you with Houma, Louisiana right now. The winds are gusting nearly 50 miles per hour.
When I am helping a customer, I need to treat everybody the way I would want them to treat my family. I am a country girl, so that's what we do. I want them to know that I really want to help you. That's what I'm here for. People may not remember what you say, but they always remember how you make them feel. My name is Lola, and I am proud to keep your car running newer, longer.
Fixed right, priced right, right on time. The Triple Promise, only at Firestone Complete Auto Care.
With 2019's most popular palettes and new paint selection tools online and in-store, the Home Depot is making finding your color easier than ever. Get a colorful new experience and everything you'll need to get started painting like Behr Premium Plus from $24.98. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
It's only a matter of time until your check engine light comes on, or worse yet, your car needs repair. That could mean a big surprise auto repair bill. That's why it's so important you call CarShield today.
I was elated that I had CarShield. I was more than happy.
It's no fun when you have a car and it's broken and you can't pay for it to get it fixed.
So, if your vehicle has 5,000 to 150,000 miles, just tell us the make and model of your car or truck and get an instant plan quote. In a matter of minutes, you can be covered.
My experience with CarShield is that they absolutely come through every time I need them.
If my car breaks down, I can count on CarShield to cover it for me. CarShield definitely has my back.
Now it's the time to make the smart choice and protect yourself from sky-high auto repair bills. Call now for a free and instant protection plan quote. It's only a matter of time until repairs are needed, and once your car breaks down, it's too late.
Call 1-800-768-1526 or go to carshield.com. Get covered today.
Don't miss your golden opportunity to experience thrilling performance. Now at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event.
Get 0.9% APR for 60 months on all 2019 models.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Did you know you can save money by using dish soap to clean grease on more than dishes? Using multiple cleaners on grease can be expensive and sometimes ineffective. For better value, tackle grease with Dawn Ultra. Dawn is for more than just dishes. It provides 3 times more grease cleaning power per drop, which cuts through tough kitchen messes, pre-treats laundry stains, and even tackles grease buildup on car rims. Tackle tough greasy messes around your home and save money with Dawn Ultra. Brand power helping you buy better.
If your credit card debt is out of control, if you're in over your head in monthly payments, there's a secret the credit card companies don't want you to know. If you have more than $10,000 in credit card debt, you have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. That's bad news for the credit card companies, but it's great news for you. We're Credit Associates, and we're offering you free information on how to virtually eliminate your credit card debt with a monthly payment you can afford. To see how much you could save, call now. 1-800-939-5395. Don't declare bankruptcy. Don't consolidate. Give us 10 minutes and we could save you thousands. After all, we depend on your success and offer a guarantee so there's no risk. Credit Associates. Live better, debt-free. Find out how easy it is by calling now. For the secret the credit card companies don't want you to know, call Credit Associates now and see how much money you could save for free. Call 1-800-939-5395.
This is epic!
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got a severe weather threat.
We are live on the ground. Right now, it's coming down.
The Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 79 degrees under fair skies. Today, abundant sunshine. High 88. Winds west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy. Low 75. Winds west-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunday, a mainly sunny sky. High 89. Winds northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Just about 9:18 local time here on Bourbon Street in downtown New Orleans. But you are looking at Houma, Louisiana. I mean, look at this. We got a lot of water that's coming in, a lot of rain that's coming on down at times. Of course, this is southern Louisiana. This is south of where we are here. And you can see, again, a lot more wind down in that region there, where we had gusts in southern Louisiana, especially higher on some of the platforms over the Gulf and some of the higher platforms down there of about 50 to 70 miles per hour. So a big, big difference, certainly. But this is the whole thing. And we typically see this with the tropical system. When you get some of these rain bands, whether they be just passing or whatnot, it does bring down some of the high wind energy. If you've been reading some of the forecast discussions from the Hurricane Center, if you've been listening to Ken Graham talk to us this morning, a lot of what they will find are those stronger winds. The big question is, does the atmosphere allow them to mix down to the surface? And that's really the key. All right, if they can't mix down, if they can't come down to the surface, then you're going to have a much more watered down version of that, maybe 60 to 70% of what those winds are aloft. But either way, things could certainly get worse in terms of rainfall in Houma. You're long from over here. We're going to go through this tonight. There'll be some breaks, and then we'll be, again, into this as we work our way through tomorrow as well. Because remember, the center's going to come and still crawl toward the north. All right, let's take you off toward Lafourche, which is off to my west, as is the parish. Remember, there are parishes here in Louisiana, and you can see what's going on there this morning in terms of what we've got. And it's really all about the dark and stormy skies. And yeah, this is water. Is this on the lake, by the way? Is this on the lake, Lafourche? Okay, so it's not, but we've definitely got a body of water in through here where water's been pushed up because of the wind. You see the waves coming at us? All right, so you know that the wind is driving that. These lakes are very, very shallow. So I was telling you yesterday, if you can imagine or even do this, take a plate and fill it full of water. If you tip it toward you, that's the way the wind direction is blowing. And all that water is going to come on top of you before all is said and done. So that's what's happening here. This water kind of pushing in as a result of probably now a southeast wind as opposed to an east-northeast like we had yesterday. As I mentioned, we are on Bourbon Street, dry and very humid, and I would take that 20-mile-per-hour breeze that Justin's got in Baton Rouge in a New York minute. Occasionally we get a little breeze in through here. You can see more folks are out and about, certainly starting to come alive as Bourbon Street normally does. We were talking to the chef earlier, and he was saying, hey, you know what, Jim, it's usually a lot busier than this, even though it's hot and humid. But you know what? It's not as hot as it could be. Think about it. If we didn't have the clouds or the breeze, we'd be in the mid-90s, maybe feeling like 100 degrees before all is said and done in through here. So we'll take these cloud cover right now. But again, if you're in New Orleans and you are watching us, as is the case for much of East Central Louisiana, this storm is so south-loaded, and it's going to start to tighten up a little bit as it comes onshore tonight and tomorrow. So once it does that, that's when we get into our highest risk. That will be tonight and tomorrow for New Orleans. And there's a good argument that could say, hey, we may actually have more rain tomorrow than what we have today. Let's talk to Dr. Greg Postel and find out how he feels about that. Postel, do you think with the kind of dry air that we have in through here, that will kind of, I mean, in other words, the sun breaking through from time to time will crank up the instability enough to have some kind of a tornado risk to the east and northeast of the center?
East and northeast of the center, definitely, maybe in eastern Louisiana, parts of Mississippi and Alabama. But you mentioned something very important. It is south-loaded. Well, that is true, but it is south-loaded for those in Louisiana. It is not the case for those in Mississippi and Alabama, where you could argue this thing is east-loaded. Whatever it is loaded, it is off-center and somewhat lopsided, with a lot of the rain and the bad weather nowhere near where the center of circulation is. And I would argue that may even be inland by now, but that's irrelevant because so much bad weather, Jim, is occurring in so many places distantly removed from where, you know, sort of the main area of low pressure is with Barry. Jim.
So that begs the question, with the slow movement generally to the north-northwest, does that keep that band on the east side, over southern Mississippi, over southern Alabama. I mean, that's certainly the current nowcast flood risk, and even wind risk to an extent, isn't it?
Certainly the flood risk, Jim. That band does not seem to be moving much. I've got a radar picture up, and it's not that wide, maybe 50 miles or so, a little bit longer or wider, but you're right. It is really basically not moving. If anything, edging west, but hardly, barely discernible. Flooding risk continues. Not so much wind here. Heavy rain is the big factor in this part of the Gulf Coast. Jim.
All right, Dr. Postel, appreciate the insight. We will obviously be back with you throughout the morning. Guys, I was talking about the fact that we've actually got the sun out. Come here, Safe, for a second. And even though it's cloudy, what's going on there? So the radiation's getting through the cloud deck, and believe it or not, it's heating the asphalt, so you're getting an evaporation of sorts, even on a cloudy day. Kind of interesting. Just a testament to the sun and its strength, and why we don't want you to leave pets or your children in the car, because it's still going to heat up on a cloudy day. All right, let's go up to Baton Rouge. Justin Michaels. Justin, you were talking about the August 2016 situation up there where they got 2 feet plus of rain. Yeah. What are the biggest concerns now for the city of Baton Rouge based on where the river is right now and the forecast rainfall, which may be plus or minus a foot?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Jim, the biggest problem with the river being as high as it is, and it's going to peak around 43 feet coming up over the next 24 hours, is the drainage out into the Mississippi. Because the Mississippi is so high, drainage is drastically reduced. It's going to take longer for it to get out. One of the many problems facing Baton Rouge over the next couple hours. We'll be right back.
The Lab is brought to you by State Farm. There for when things go wrong, but also here to help life go right.
Wish you were here to see how bright the human spirit can shine. To see that no matter what nature does, people will do more. With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm will always be among the first to arrive and the last to leave. To help show that human nature is greater than nature.
This is 30 calories. This is 30 calories. This is not going to cut it. This will. V8. The V is for vegetables. Drink some.
Not even our competitor's best battery can match the power of Energizer, because Energizer Ultimate Lithium is the longest-lasting AA battery in the world. Energizer, backed by science, matched by no one.
Try Target same-day delivery. Delivered to your door so you can do more. More thrill. More skill. More chill. Target run and done.
Norwegian's Free at Sea lets you choose up to 5 free offers, like free unlimited open bar, free shore excursions, friends and family sail free, and more. Your next vacay awaits from just $1.99. Norwegian Cruise Line. Feel free.
With all-day comfort for all-day fun, Depend FitFlex underwear features maximum absorbency, ultra-soft fabric, and new beautiful designs for your best comfort and protection guaranteed. Life's better when you're in it. Be there with Depend.
Think all premium fuels are the same? New Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline is engineered with 4 levels of defense against gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. That helps keep your engine running like new. So maybe it's time to unthink what you think about premium fuel. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. It's fuel for thought.
Wow, that's Ensure Max Protein with high protein and 1 gram sugar.
It's a sit-up, banana. Bend at the waist.
I'm trying. Keep it up. You'll get there.
Whoa!
30 grams of protein and 1 gram of sugar. Ensure Max Protein.
Feed your imagination. Feed your excitement. Feed your hunger. When heroes get hungry, they get the $12 extra large superhero pizza at Papa John's.
Cheez-It snacks are the most satisfying combination of crunch with
cheese.
With their delicious perfection.
Cheese!
It's not all about you, Cheese.
You think I have a mouth? I'm a wheel of cheese.
Got a point.
Yeah.
Cheez-It, cheesy, crunchy satisfaction.
Hey, Chuck Woolery here with a bit of a confession. I have a new favorite emu oil. Forget the imitators. There's only one Blue Emu. Get American-made Blue Emu. It works fast and you won't stink. You're on.
Life doesn't give you many second chances. But a Subaru can.
You guys okay? You all right?
Eyesight with pre-collision braking. Standard on the Subaru Ascent. Presenting the 3-row Subaru Ascent. Love is now bigger than ever.
Yeah, I know after that. All right, guys, again, welcome back to our continuing coverage of Tropical Storm Barry as it literally crawls ashore. Not moving very quickly. It's a complicated storm because you're probably looking at your radar saying, wow, what's that little spin east of Lake Charles? Is that the center? Maybe. Probably not, though, because we've noted certainly from the Hurricane Center's data that there are multiple small centers or vortices rotating around that. You're looking at Lafourche Parish here, and you can see how with the wind, all right, this is, again, looking at the water that's being pushed up. So this is storm surge by the wind. It's pushing the water up. Think about it. These are very shallow bodies of water, and you've got a plate. If you fill it with water and you tip it a certain way, that's what's happening. The wind is pushing it toward that area. All right, so we've had, so far, I think Energy is reporting about 65,000 customers without power in Louisiana. And we can prove that to you by what's happening in through here. It doesn't take much to get a tree that's overhanging a power line to cause the electricity to surge through the line. And what happens is the transformer doesn't blow up, okay? What you're getting is a discharge. It's actually saving the transformer. So you're seeing all that energy kind of come out the bottom of this little discharge channel with that blue and green flash. There's a safety mechanism that they build on those, because think about it. If you had to go back and replace all those transformers, holy smoke, it would take forever. So the central line discharges, and that's what you're seeing with that flash there. Floating debris, that's certainly a possibility here in many areas, especially where we've had some high water and some of these gusty winds, and you can see these little waves. So anytime you get wind over water, there's going to be waves, and that's the case here in Cocodrie in Louisiana. And really in many areas. With the onshore flow, with the southeast wind, we're looking at higher water right now all the way from about Houma down to Boothville, continuing over into the Mississippi coast, and even into Mobile Bay. There is water rise as a result of that southerly wind. The problem with Mobile Bay is you're also dealing with this band of rain that's been stuck on the east side, and some of the guidance actually had this yesterday, all right? And they had it over the Florida Panhandle this morning. It just happens to verify over this area. And here in New Orleans right now, we are dry. We may actually stay that way for a good part of the day. Our threat may not be till well after the center comes ashore. All right, guys, so we got you covered with all things Barry, and it demands your patience. That's why we kind of spread out across Louisiana and through here. Reynolds, as you know, New Orleans, south side is the Mississippi River, the north side is Lake Pontchartrain. Reynolds Wolf is up there on the south side of Lake Pontchartrain, and Justin Michaels is up in Baton Rouge. Everyone thinking back to August 2016 when we had that depression wannabe that crushed them with over a foot and a half of rain, and that was certainly a big deal. So Reynolds, let's start with you. Yesterday winds a little bit east-northeast, which is where that water piled up in front of that marina and that yacht club there. In Landry's, I think, is pretty close by you as well. Indeed. Today, the winds have shifted a little bit more out of the southeast. So perhaps it is the northern part of Lake Pontchartrain that's dealing with scenes like you and I both saw yesterday.
Absolutely. I mean, you're right about that, Jim. And you're also correct about our present location. Yeah, this is the New Canal Lighthouse you see off in the distance. We've got Landry's over to the left, a bit of a marina here to the right. And what you're seeing in between us and there is really just a slow ripple on the water, where yesterday, if you look at this video, the video shows a very different story. I mean, it was just very tumultuous out here, no doubt. And I'll tell you, it is quite mesmerizing to see the contrast of what was then and what is now. But the thing is, don't get a false sense of security about it, because we're going to see conditions deteriorate. If you look up and down the shoreline for the time being, a couple things to notice. For one, you don't have a lot of people. Yesterday there were a ton of folks that are up here, but I'll tell you today, different situation altogether. A couple of also key things to notice is the water is relatively high, and it's been at this height for quite a while. Let me tell you how I know how. I'm a fly fisherman. I am. I mean, I spend a lot of time in the water. If you look at this lowest step, there's quite a bit of algae that has developed right along the step, which means that it's been here for a bit. We had a conversation with the Army Corps of Engineers just yesterday. Spoke with them several times, and they told us that when you think about not just this body of water, but the one well to the south, being the Mississippi River, well, you know what? They've been in flood stage for over 200 days. Can you imagine the work that the men and women have been doing in the Army Corps of Engineers to try to hold back the water? So when you think about the city of New Orleans, the key takeaway is the city's kind of locked in almost a headlock, okay? On one side, you've got Pontchartrain. On the other side, you've got the Mississippi River. And if you look over here, goodness sakes, this is part of the fortress that holds back the water, the earthen levees that you see these folks that are standing up on. You follow the earthen levees right on down, you actually see one of the floodgates, and the floodgates, again, one of the things that keeps the water held back. All right, folks, full team coverage here on the Weather Channel. We continue to watch this system. It is again, tropical storm. Will it become a hurricane? At this point, folks, I'll tell you, the biggest threat is going to be what it could bring regardless, and that is over a foot of rain to parts of America. Full story coming up after this.
I was so embarrassed about paying too much for a used car, I went into hiding in this undisclosed location. That used car website had the price all wrong.
Carfax has a better way. At Carfax.com, you get the most accurate price based on the Carfax report, so you never have to overpay on a used car again.
Dad, time for dinner. Okay, champ.
Stop the shame of overpaying and start your used car search today at the all-new Carfax.com.
My insurance rates are probably going to double.
But, Dad, you've got...
Allstate. With accident forgiveness, they guarantee your rates won't go up just because of an accident.
Smart kid.
Indeed. Are you in good hands?
Stay tuned to get a free umbrella with new breakthrough technology. That's right, free. An umbrella can keep you dry when it starts to pour, but it's a struggle to get it closed and into the door. Well, not anymore. Introducing Betterbrella, the ingenious new umbrella with reverse open-close technology. There's no easier way to get in from the rain. You'll always stay dry with no puddles inside. The secret? Betterbrella opens and closes differently than other umbrellas. Old umbrellas just get in the way. But watch how fast and easy Betterbrella saves the day. Plus, look, close it and it forms a waterproof cone. All the wetness stays inside, not on your floor. Amazing! The secret is Betterbrella's smart redesign of the traditional umbrella. We turned it upside down and inside out, so now it's super simple to get in and out of any door without getting wet. You'll be inside in a jiffy with Betterbrella. And never worry about the wind again, because Betterbrella is windproof. Strong wind, soaking rain, or heavy snow, Betterbrella keeps you dry wherever you go.
This umbrella makes my rainy days so much easier. Whether I'm walking the dog or grocery shopping, this umbrella works.
We want all of America to try this revolutionary new umbrella. So here's an insane deal. You can get the all-new Betterbrella in your choice of black, red, or blue for just $29.99. But wait, call now, and through this special TV offer, you can get a second Betterbrella free and get your shipping absolutely free. Plus, we'll instantly upgrade you to our special ergonomic handle. The soft comfort grip molds perfectly to any hand and makes it easier to hold. Yours free. And we guarantee Betterbrella will be the last umbrella you'll ever own or your money back. Betterbrella. Call now to get a second umbrella free and your shipping free. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-886-4752 or go to betterbrella.com. That's 1-800-886-4752 or order online at betterbrella.com.
How pure can pure be? Our 12-step process provides 100% pure quality water. Look for kids packs from Nestle Pure Life. Fun designs and a perfect size just for your kids.
Barry is a very slow-moving and strengthening storm. Hurricane warnings are up, and both wind and water will be life-threatening hazards at the coast and inland. Torrential rains could flood entire communities near the coast and eventually hundreds of miles inland for days after landfall. To stay alive, stay out of the water. Don't drive onto any water-covered roads. Turn around. Don't drown. If you're trapped in your home by floodwaters, call 911 and stay out of storm surge by evacuating as instructed by local officials. And watch out for falling trees, which can take out power as strong winds move across areas where the soil is already saturated. Don't underestimate this storm. That could be a deadly mistake. Let's get ready, stay dry, and live to help one another through the aftermath of whatever comes our way.
And, of course, our hurricane expert there, Dr. Rick Knabb, former director of the National Hurricane Center. Really the key point there is, sadly, we always see issues where people are in water when they shouldn't be. As a matter of fact, we have one of those. We can show you. Now, I don't know if these people expected this, and this is different. This may have been a car that was parked and water that has come in. But let's find out what happened here, because we've been looking at this video here out of Lafourche Parish. Lieutenant Brennan Masern is with the Lafourche Parish Police Department. Lieutenant, thanks for talking to us this morning. What are we seeing there, and why is that vehicle flooded? Is it just water that's come up because of the wind pushing it?
Yes, this is expected storm surge and probably some of the water from the wind. This is LA1, Louisiana Highway 1, and it's right south of the South Lafourche Levee Protection System. This is a place that floods pretty much for every storm. It's the main channel that's connecting Golden Meadow south to Leeville. It's really the town of Leeville all the way down to Port Pouchon. Now, the good news is that Port Pouchon, which services 95% of deepwater offshore energy activity, is high and dry. They're about at a +4 or +8 elevation on the south end of this road. But this highway between Golden Meadow and Port Pouchon is down. That road is also the only way in or out for residents of Grand Isle, which is in our neighboring Jefferson Parish, but that is the only road they have to come out. So at this point, anybody still in the port or in Grand Isle cannot travel north, and they are stuck where they're at.
And interestingly enough, that wind is probably going to stay up. When you have storms that are slow moving like this, certainly in the position that Barry's in, does this tend to keep the water over Highway 1 for an extended period of time?
Yes, unfortunately, we don't expect the highway to reopen today at all, based on the fact that we expect to see the winds continuing throughout the day today, and perhaps into the weekend. We expect to see this highway completely covered. Once the water does eventually recede, there's going to be a ton of debris on the highway, so we're going to have to work with local officials to clear that highway before we can even open it back up. And Jim, the interesting part about this highway, mentioning Port Pouchon again, every hour that highway is closed, the nation sees a $22 million hit to its GDP. So that just tells you about the importance of Port Pouchon.
And I would imagine that's seafood, right?
No, that's oil and gas. That's our service port to the oil and gas industry. Yes.
Wow. That's really interesting. So something to keep an eye on here. Let me ask you this, though, Lieutenant. Should there be an emergency down in Grand Island that you'll have to deal with or get to somebody, how do you do that?
Well,
by
obviously,
boat or by helicopter?
Grand Isle Police, Jefferson Sheriff's Office, for the ones that are there. That's in, again, our neighboring parish. But certainly we work with them.
Okay.
Yeah, we would ultimately have to go a different route. We would not be able to drive there at this point. Now, we obviously, with high water vehicles, there may be the possibility that we can get down there at some point. But at this point, the water is too high for anybody to pass.
And obviously nobody should be out there. You guys have blocked it off and barricaded it, right?
Yeah, at this point, and again, the residents in Grand Isle and in the Leeville area and the southern Golden Meadow area are well aware of the consequences of staying. They deal with this for every storm. So most of them, any of them that wanted to get out have evacuated. There is a mandatory evacuation for Grand Isle and for our area of the parish. And all of those residents that wanted to get out have gotten out.
Right, and now you're stuck there in Grand Island if you haven't. Lieutenant Brennan Brendan Mathern, thank you very much. The Lafourche Parish Police Department. Thanks for talking to us here this morning about that. So, guys, you can't get to Grand Island, nor should you be at this point. There's a lot of wind on the east side of the storm that's pushing water up toward Mobile Bay, toward the Mississippi coastline, into these areas, these southern parishes, where that open water is, of course, to the Gulf of Mexico. Let's find out, though, where the water may be falling from the sky and what that may do to a city like Baton Rouge. Justin Michaels has been reporting on that. Justin, I've been watching the gauge at Baton Rouge on the Mississippi River. It's been up for hundreds of days in major flood stage. This just keeps it up.
Yeah.
Right? This situation.
Well, that's exactly right. It's going to stay up. And in fact, Jim, I think over the next, 24 hours, it's going to peak around 43 feet is the expectation for a crest point. And then when's it going to go down? We were talking with city officials yesterday, hydrologists from the city about that. And they were saying they're not expecting it to go below major flood stage until the end of August. Just incredible how long this has been in major flood stage and is going to continue to be in major flood stage. Now, the flooding from the Mississippi is not at any way, shape, or form going to overtop the levee here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That is not the concern. It's the precipitation coming from the sky that's going to be coming down and ponding, puddling, and flooding right here in Baton Rouge. This is something the city knows how to deal with. This is something the city has had to deal with many, many times, as recently as about 6 weeks ago when somebody died in their car because of floodwaters. It's a sad, sad reality when people find themselves in that situation. Of course, the waters can come up so quickly, especially in a place like this where flooding is prone here. And then you go back to 2016, the August of 2016, like Jim has been calling it, almost a depression or whatever it was, doesn't really matter, where 26 inches of rain fell in about 2 days. Intense flooding back then. So people are a little gun shy when it comes to the flooding that could come from this. Of course, we're going to have continuing coverage after this short break.
I count on Blue Emu to give me relief for the arthritis in my hands. Forget the imitators. There's only one Blue Emu. Get American-made Blue Emu. It works fast and you won't stink.
This is Mia. This is Mia's pulse. With pressure rising and racing. This is also Mia's pulse that her doctor keeps in check so she can find balance. This is Mia's pulse, and now it's more stable than ever. This is what Medicare from Blue Cross Blue Shield does for Mia. And with over 80 years of healthcare expertise, imagine what we can do for you. This is the benefit of Blue.
When you start with a better hot dog from Oscar Mayer,
That's no way to treat a dog.
you can do no wrong.
Where did you learn that? The internet.
Yeah.
With no artificial preservatives or added nitrates or nitrites, it's all for the love of hot dogs.
Be right there, baby. Oh, sorry.
Unlike ordinary diapers, Pampers is the first and only diaper that distributes wetness evenly into 3 extra absorb channels. They stay up to 3 times drier, so babies can sleep soundly all night. Wishing you love, sleep, and play. Pampers.
When I am helping a customer, I need to treat everybody the way I would want them to treat my family. I am a country girl, so that's what we do. I want them to know that I really want to help you. That's what I'm here for. People may not remember what you say, but they always remember how you make them feel. My name is Lola, and I am proud to keep your car running newer, longer.
Fixed right, priced right, right on time. The triple promise, only at Firestone Complete Auto Care.
If your credit card debt is out of control, if you're in over your head in monthly payments, there's a secret the credit card companies don't want you to know. If you have more than $10,000 in credit card debt, you have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. That's bad news for the credit card companies, but it's great news for you. We're Credit Associates, and we're offering you free information on how to virtually eliminate your credit card debt with a monthly payment you can afford. To see how much you could save, call now. 1-800-939-5395. Don't declare bankruptcy. Don't consolidate. Give us 10 minutes and we could save you thousands. After all, we depend on your success and offer a guarantee so there's no risk. Credit Associates. Live better, debt-free. Find out how easy it is by calling now. For the secret the credit card companies don't want you to know? Call Credit Associates now and see how much money you could save for free. Call 1-800-939-5395.
This is epic!
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got a severe weather threat.
We are live on the ground. Right now, it's coming down.
The Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 81 degrees under sunny skies. Today, abundant sunshine. High 88. Winds west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy. Low 75. Winds west-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunday, a mainly sunny sky. High 89. Winds northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Guys, we will get the latest advisory on Barry here in just a moment with our hurricane specialist, Dr. Greg Postel. Stick around for that, but I want to show you some pictures because we're constantly getting video in. All right, we've already got stuff going on, even though the center hasn't come ashore here. Look at this wind damage. Holy smoke. All right, this is Bayou Vista, Louisiana. This is down near Morgan City, I believe. And you can see not only power outages, but also damage there. Trampoline's pretty much a given. That thing's going to fly like a parachute. But the roof damage, that was pretty extensive there. No question about it. You can certainly see in the video how the wind is blowing. Brett Adair sending that video in to us. This looks like some kind of a cover to the mobile unit itself, where the roof was kind of peeled back here a little bit. Heck, you could do that probably with a 60 or 65 mile per hour wind gust, which we know have happened down there. Okay, about 64,000 customers right now in Louisiana without power at this time. So here's some new video again of the same area. Here's the wind and the rain. Was this the actual shower or thunderstorm, if you will, that did this? It's possible, because as we've been telling you about all morning, with each one of these rain bands and in these rainy areas, we're going to be able to transport down the stronger winds aloft. And we know in tropical systems that as you go up in elevation, you get away from the friction of the earth, you get those stronger winds, and the rain can actually bring that down. So near Bayou Vista is Morgan City here. Let's see what's going on in Morgan City, because this is an area that's pretty close by. They've pretty much dealt with some of the same stuff. And look at that. Holy smoke. Got a roof peel right back there. Looks like maybe a hotel or motel there where the roof's been peeled right back. Wow. Gusts of 66 miles per hour in Morgan City as a result of that. So there is some damage that's starting to show up here, even though the center's not come ashore yet. And these are with these little convective bands or showers that are popping up that are helping bring down some of the stronger winds aloft. So you don't need a hurricane gust to cause damage or power outages, as evidence from what we're showing you and telling you about this morning. Again, we are in Bourbon Street here in downtown New Orleans. Perhaps for us, the worst of it will be late tonight and on during the day tomorrow. We just don't have within us the realm of guidance that knows exactly when the heavy rain is going to be over us. All right, because we just, the atmosphere and the guidance that we have so far doesn't work like that. We have an idea it may be tonight as the storm tightens up and maybe a band develops down to our south, but that's why we can only just tell you and then watch it as time goes on. We call that a nowcast in my business. All right, so let's find out what the Hurricane Center's thinking. Dr. Greg Postel, give us the latest.
Well, I can tell you, you don't have to anticipate rain coming your way across parts of Alabama and Mississippi, because it's raining really hard there right now, a long way removed from where the center of circulation is, somewhere in that zone. So this is a very spread out, sprawling circulation with a lot of rain in a couple of widely spaced areas. One, as I mentioned, coast of Mississippi and Alabama and extreme western Florida. Whereas the main circulation center appears to be here over southern Louisiana, maybe onshore, maybe not. We will see from the Hurricane Center what they identify it as. But, you know, to me, it doesn't really matter because we are going to be dealing with increasingly worse weather across Louisiana later on today, long after official landfall has been made. So the weather, the bad weather is yet to come in this part of the world. But I want to point out to you, I got this product in from RMS HWID. Now, I put a lot on this map, but I want to show you a couple of things. That this area of rain right out in here doesn't really have a lot of wind in it. If you want to really know where the strongest of all the winds are, they're back in here, and I'll show you. I'm going to toggle off the radar to show you where the strongest winds are associated with Barry, according to this analysis, blending in all the kinds of data that you can get. This is an analysis from RMS HWIND, a great product to look at, I think, to give you a rough estimate or a good estimate, definitely across parts of the region for where the strongest winds are, and they are lurking offshore in some of those areas of heavy rain. A lot of wind and rain yet to come for Louisiana, and a lot more rain is ongoing right now. In this part of Alabama and Mississippi, several inches of rain have fallen, in some places over 3 inches, and maybe 3 inches yet to come just today. Farther to the west, over southern Louisiana, the weather conditions are slowly getting worse, I think. Right now, here's a sample of some wind observations. We've seen Houma gusting over 50 miles per hour earlier today. They'll probably creep back over 50 miles per hour later on this afternoon. But elsewhere in New Orleans right now, we're gusting at about 30, 35. But far from where the peak has been so far. Here's a sort of sample of some of the strongest wind reports we've seen so far. And they, look, 81 miles per hour in Burns Point, Louisiana. And so we've seen the wind, and the wind is only going to increase later on today, as the rains do for many across Louisiana. I'm going to send it over now to Justin Michaels right now to give us the latest on what is going at his location in Baton Rouge.
Well, Dr. Postel, we're getting a lot more wind here right now. I've been clocking some wind gusts, 25, a little more than 25 miles per hour. We're also feeling the rain beginning to come in. It's kind of spitting right now. It's in the wind, but not anything torrential at this point. In fact, the ground is basically still dry. Let's go talk to Katie Gilmore. Katie, you're somebody who evacuated from New Orleans because of this.
Yes.
Go ahead. Tell me about
it. We drove by Lake Pontchartrain and saw the water coming over, and we're like, we got to go, minutes. And so we packed a bag and came to Baton Rouge. And not really escaping much, but we don't know what's going on in New Orleans.
Do you feel safer here than New Orleans?
Yeah, I think so, just because we're so close to the water. We're right in Lakeview, and so we feel a little bit safer here.
How long you plan on sticking around?
I don't know, probably one more night, at least until the water is clear in New Orleans.
And you've got Digby down here. Digby is not too happy.
No, Digby's not liking the weather.
Okay, excuse me 1 second. Breaking news right now on the Weather Channel. Tropical Storm Barry is now hurricane.
So now, Dish has over 80,000 on-demand movies and shows. 80,000. Why? I mean, it would take you years to get through 80,000. Thing is, it's not about 80,000. It's about one. That one movie you saw that one time on a first date with that one girl. That's why.
Dish, tuned in to you.
This is no ordinary sub shop. This is Firehouse Subs.
Welcome to Firehouse,
where you can escape the ordinary with the new Jamaican Jerk Turkey Sub. Freshly sliced smoked turkey breast, craveably sweet mustard sauce, and a hint of Caribbean seasoning. Just $5.55 for a medium. Order one today, because a portion of every purchase at Firehouse Subs helps provide life-saving equipment for first responders. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs, save more lives.
This has potassium. The same amount as this. It's a post-workout snack you don't have to peel. V8. The V is for vegetables. Drink some.
The Home Depot is making it easy to turn your imagination into the perfect color to transform your room with the Project Color app. Get a colorful new experience and everything you'll need to paint something great at your destination for the best brands, the Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
I switched from Dodge.
We switched from Ford.
I switched from Ram. I switched to Chevy.
We switched to Chevy. We switched to Chevy.
For dependability.
For these guys.
And just look at it.
We switched to Chevy.
See for yourself why people are switching at the Chevy All-Star Open House. Get 20% below MSRP on all 2019 Silverado double cab pickups. That's over $97.50 on this Silverado. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
So Kim, you going for a big Drive Safe and Save discount? Yep, using the app. I've been quite vigilant.
Sharon says step on it, the meeting started.
Okay, write her back. Dear Sharon, don't mess with my discount.
Faster, Mommy, I gotta go to the bathroom.
I do too, honey, but we're gonna hold it for Mommy's discount. Easy.
But you're in labor.
Don't mess with my discount!
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save from State Farm.
Over the last 24 hours, you've finished preparing him for college. In 24 hours, you'll send him off thinking you've done everything for his well-being. But meningitis B progresses quickly and can be fatal, sometimes within 24 hours. While meningitis B is uncommon, about 1 in 10 infected will die. Like millions of others, your teen may not be vaccinated against meningitis B. Meningitis B strikes quickly. Be quick to talk to your teen's doctor about a meningitis B vaccine.
All right, guys, the moment you've all been waiting for. Tropical Storm Barry is now Hurricane Barry. We've got a 75-mile-per-hour hurricane on our hands now as the Hurricane Center update is now in. Interestingly enough, though, you'll notice the convection on the south side isn't as robust as it was, and it certainly doesn't look like your classic hurricane. And we'll talk about why that is with Dr. Greg Postel in just a moment. But you can see there, about 40 miles to the south of Lafayette, Louisiana. All right, so it's still offshore, according to the Hurricane Hunter aircraft. And, of course, various data that they get from the plane is one of the reasons why they upgraded that to Hurricane. I want to bring in Dr. Greg Postel to kind of talk a little bit about this. And, Greg, again, very lopsided, as we call in the business, asymmetrical in terms of its load being the east and south side. But in terms of the energy now, not a whole heck of a lot of difference between a 70-mile-an-hour tropical storm and a 75-mile-per-hour hurricane. It's just got a sexier name as a hurricane, right?
That's one way to put it. I mean, there really is no difference, Jim, in the impacts that we expect. That hasn't changed going back even not just a few hours, but even going back a day. I mean, this is the kind of system that we expected. Now, whether or not, as you said, it's a 70-mile-per-hour tropical storm or a 75-mile-per-hour hurricane, the impacts are going to be the same. I haven't seen any data that's changed in the last 3 hours from when it was a tropical storm to now that it's designated a hurricane. The hurricane hunters are in there, and I've been watching all the data come in, and I haven't found anything that suggests it's any stronger than it was 6 hours ago. But you know, maybe I'm not privy to all the data. And as you said, you can look at the satellite picture there and see that some of the cloud tops are warming. We're losing some of those darker shades of magenta and red, suggesting some of those thunderstorms, even offshore, are maybe weakening a bit. Jim.
So I wanted to ask you that, though. Is that what gave us a hurricane? So one of the reasons they found that was what they call the SFMR instrument on the Hurricane Hunter aircraft. Okay, that goes out and estimates the wind from the plane. So that's their data. They have that data. We can see it eventually. But Postel, could there have been an actual collapse of some of that produced those winds to hurricane force, and that just happened to coincide at the time they were measuring that data?
Well, I'm getting the real-time data in from the SFMR, and the fastest winds that they've measured were right around 70 miles per hour about 3 hours ago. I haven't seen anything stronger than that, even as recent as the last 15 or 20 minutes. So, you know, they're in there, and, you know, I don't know exactly what they're finding in some, I guess, but yeah, I think the takeaway, though, is that it's still going to be as strong as we thought it was going to be. The impacts are going to be the same. The winds are going to be as predicted, and the heavy rain is going to be remarkably heavy, and we're going to see a ton of flooding and life-threatening flooding at that. Now, for those in Louisiana, you might be thinking, well, where's the rain? That is yet to come. That may not come until later on this afternoon and tonight and tomorrow, by the way. But for folks in Mississippi and Alabama right now, it is absolutely pouring like crazy.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah,
right.
It's happening now, 250 miles away from where the center of Barry is. And so we're seeing a very spread out system in terms of impacts with lots of heavy rain along the northern Gulf Coast. Jim.
All right, so yeah, even though we're seeing the cloud tops warm too, this is not the end of it. Trust me. This is once that asymmetrical or lopsided system comes ashore, you're going to have to all that deal with. So, Postel, here's the deal. Hurricane Hunter aircraft reported SFMR wind estimates 63 to 63 knots, as you said, near Eugene Island, and it's possible that the strongest winds were not sampled. It is estimated that Barry has become a hurricane around 11:12 Z, which is, or a little bit earlier on. Either way, It is a hurricane. And the takeaway to you at home is, A, we haven't had the worst impacts for a good chunk of Louisiana in terms of the rainfall, and the difference between 70 and 75 is trivial. So expect, certainly, especially with these rain bands, Greg, and you can agree or disagree with that, you know, some of the strongest winds may actually be transported down. Guys, you're looking at live pictures near Lake Pontchartrain. All right, so my thinking is this is probably, Greg, and you tell me, we can do a little wind stream over the lake. So if the winds are blowing southeast over Lake Pontchartrain, this would more than likely be on the northern side of the lake, because it's pushing that water north, right?
Yeah, we're getting a south-southeast wind all across southern Louisiana right now. If you go to my map, I can show you what the winds are doing. For example, in New Orleans, south-southeast at 16 miles per hour, gusting to 30. So the wind direction all across this region is out of that direction. So there's Lake Pontchartrain, and everything would be loaded on the north side. The water rises would be most significant following that wind direction from southeast to northwest. So, Jim, take it away. Back to you.
So, yeah, we've sent the birthday boy, Charles Peak, up there. So hopefully he'll get off Highway 12. Happy birthday, Charles Peak, and see what's happening there. Because, you know, I tried to make this example earlier about the fact that, you know, Pontchartrain's like a plate. All right, with water on top of it. You tip that plate, which is what the wind would do, essentially. You're going to push the water on one side. We had that yesterday, where Reynolds Wolf is, okay, on the southwest side. Big difference today because of the change in wind direction. It's taken all that water on that side of the plate and tipped the plate up. So it's all going on the northern side of the lake. And that's what you're seeing. So, again, guys, looking at live pictures here of Lake Pontchartrain. Actually, Lisa, is this Peak's camera? Lisa Watkins, is this Peak's camera? I'm wondering. I guess she's not listening to me. I just want to find out where it is. Peak's camera. Yes. Okay, so this is okay. So we did send Charles Peak on the northern side of the lake, and this is what he's finding. This is exactly what I thought was going to happen here. And let you know, again, it's just which direction is that plate moving, and it's tipped to the north, and that's where the water is in through there. Lisa, let's try and get him on the phone at some point. I want to see. You know, this is one shot. It's a static camera. I want to know if we got any water in homes, but you can certainly see, guys. This is halfway up that mailbox. Average height of a mailbox, probably with the actual can of where you put the mail, the mailbox itself is probably about 4 feet. So that water's up about 3 feet in some of those areas. All right, and you can see it looks deeper the farther down that we go near the stop sign, probably a little bit higher than that. And then there's another mailbox to the left, which is just under that tree branch, and that looks like it's all almost to the bottom of that. So, you know, again, we're talking about 3-4 feet of water rise here somewhere on the north side of Lake Pontchartrain, where the wind is actually pushing the water to the north. And this can change around just based on the direction of the wind. All right, so really an interesting situation there when you have Lake Pontchartrain. And remember, the Bonacare Spillway has been open, so there's a lot of water in that lake. There's a lot of water in that lake. It's muddy. I flew over it a couple of days ago. So there's really no place for it to go. So it is going to be a victim of the wind, regardless if it's not a hurricane strength wind or not. It's just going to push that water. Obviously, the stronger the wind, the more push we're going to get. And that's the deal. All right, so Postel, let's talk about this. This south wind on Lake Pontchartrain for the foreseeable future is going to continue, isn't it?
Yes, because overall the system is just lumbering away. It's almost moving barely perceptibly northwest at about 6 miles per hour. So the prevailing wind speed and the wind direction in and around New Orleans won't change very much today. The wind speed may pick up a little bit, but not a lot. The wind direction will basically remain out of the southeast, and you can see that on the maps here that I'm showing you. We are seeing some significant water rises across southern Louisiana, in New Orleans in particular, in Lake Pontchartrain. Almost 3 feet of water rise above normally dry ground. So that may be some of what you're seeing there in the top right picture there, where we're seeing, looks like flooding from Lake Pontchartrain on its north side, with the wind coming from the south, pushing it inland a little bit. But notice the trees there aren't moving very much in some of those protected areas. That's because the wind is not that strong, but it's the duration of a 10 to 20 mile per hour wind in exposed areas that can do just that. Jim.
Right. So, Greg, let's talk about this band. You can have your weather producer set this up. This band that's to the east side. I'll give you actually time to set that up. So I want to talk about rainfall estimates. How much of rain have we had with that band? Is it excessively heavy? Is it a localized flood situation, even though it's near the coast and near Mobile? I'll get back to you in just a second, but I want to bring in Peak, the birthday boy who's on the phone. Happy birthday, Charles. You're in Mandeville, Louisiana, on the north side of Lake Pontchartrain. Let's talk about what you're seeing there. Tell me about your trip. I mean, you went north, you went around the lake, you got off the interstate. What did you see?
Well, I actually went over the causeway across the lake, and about the middle of it, you can see some 4 or 5 foot swells across the lake with the fetch picking it up. And then when I got over here into Mandeville, the water has pushed up here. I'm about 7 blocks, according to residents here, from Lakeshore Drive, and the water's pushed all the way back into here. These roads, obviously, 2 or 3 foot of water. A guy just came up on a paddleboard. What I'm hearing right at the moment, it's not up into the houses. He had gone down there to check on that.
Okay, good.
But you're getting real close right up to the doors.
So in terms of what you can see out there and how far out that water goes, is it 100 yards down? Because we don't have a big perspective once we get past that stop sign. Can you see beyond that in terms of the rain? I mean, is it down that far?
I can see, but I can't see to the lake from here. Residents are telling me this is about 7 city blocks to the lake down there.
7 city blocks or so. But like you said, from what the gentleman on the paddleboard sees, not into homes at this point in time.
Correct. He said he just told me he went to the end. They do build their homes up on elevations down there. They need to do that. And so, but closer, further back where they don't have them elevated, it's up to the doors.
All right, Charles Peak, we appreciate that. Try and have a little fun today, buddy. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. We appreciate the hard work.
Appreciate it, Jim.
All right, guys, again, I want to take you back here to Bourbon Street because Bourbon Street is a little wet right now for the first time in a while, actually, in about 2 or 3 hours. So we've had a little rain shower that's kind of moved on through. There's people out and about, eating at some of the breakfast facilities in through here, kind of getting a little bit of a breakfast. But for now, a little cool rain. It actually feels kind of good, Postel, out here with the heat and humidity we got going on. So I'm going to just kind of stand out in the rain here a little bit and talk a little bit about the storm. So I asked you before we went to Charles to take a look at this really what has been a persistent rain band. Over the Mobile area, over southern Mississippi. What kind of rates and what kind of totals have we seen out of that so far?
Some totals around 3 inches, and they're continuing to rise because the rainfall rates are exceptionally high. There's the band that we're talking about, Jim, and it's about, let's see, I can tell you how wide it is. It's about 80 miles wide, and the idea is that we will continue to see this band impact southern Mississippi and southern Alabama for many more hours to come. It's essentially not moving. Well, you can figure out why, because Barry overall is not moving. So even the bands on its edge are effectively stationary, and this is a real problem because, Jim, this rain is accumulating quickly, and as I mentioned, some of the radar estimates are coming in well over 3 inches. Now, here's some ground truth measurements.
Yeah.
But those are old. Those are, an hour plus or old, and we're getting rainfall rates over 1 inch per hour. So it is piling up quickly. This is one of the areas that's getting hit hard right now. Jim, back to you.
And you know what's really interesting, Greg? If you go back to the radar for a second, there is some southeast propagation of the line itself, but the wind aloft, what's feeding the line, is actually coming from the southeast, back over the top of that rain-cooled air. So the setup itself is enhancing the rainfall, right?
Yeah, I mean, everything is kind of lining up across parts of that area of the northern Gulf Coast, Mississippi and Alabama right now. You're talking about this sort of prolonged wind coming in, and not only at low levels, but at mid-altitude. So there's no real push for this thing to get knocked one way or the other. All the winds are lining up uniformly in the same direction from low to high, so this thing is stuck, and that's a real problem for many in southern Mississippi and Alabama, and even extending northward from there. Go ahead.
And yeah, I was going to say, and to forecast ahead for other folks, we got a lot of viewers in Pensacola, in that area. Does that band make it over that way this afternoon, albeit slow?
Well, I'm going to use this forecast doing its best to simulate what's going on now and move it forward in time, hour by hour. And I don't know if you can see this, Jim, but it essentially keeps the rain much of the day for those areas that are getting hit hard in Mississippi and Alabama. Much of the afternoon, maybe by 8 o'clock tonight, we don't see so much anymore. Perhaps everything is shifted farther to the west. But it's then, tonight, farther to the west over Louisiana, that we will likely get a lot of rain with all that stuff coming from the Gulf of Mexico inland in terms of, well, it could be measured in terms of feet rather than inches when it's all said and done. Jim.
All right, Dr. Greg Post, I always appreciate the insight, buddy. Thanks for going with the audible there that I called. Charles Peak, thank you for being on the north side of Lake Pontchartrain, where we've got, essentially a wind-driven amount of water, which has been pushed now on the northern side of the lake. All right, because of the wind direction there. All right, let's go to Justin Michaels, who has also been dodging a few raindrops. Let's get the latest out of Baton Rouge. Justin, good morning.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Jim, not only do we have the rain that's coming in now, and it's not some really heavy torrential downpour, but it is definitely raining. We're also seeing increases in the miles per hour for wind. I clocked something with my anemometer at 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts that came in. I'm looking up at the clouds. They're still moving from the southeast, so a southeasterly wind coming down from basically where Jim is and down off the Gulf coming in. So I'll tell you what, it's certainly not a lovely day. Interestingly, though, here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, we know in our hotel alone, which is right back there, there are no less than 3 weddings today. 3. Some of those kids went to LSU, and a lot of them are coming back here to celebrate. So we'll have to see how their weddings turn out. You know, they say it's good luck to have a wedding on a rainy day. What about when a hurricane comes to town? We've got Hurricane Barry here. So 3 weddings today. We're going to have to see how this all pans out, because the rain that's starting now is not supposed to stop until way into the day tomorrow on Sunday. Could we see the 12 to 18 inches of rain that's forecast? Could we see more than that if some of those tropical bands set up and just lay over top of Baton Rouge? It's a big concern for so many people because of the flooding history in this town, and these are recent memories for so many people, just dating back to 2016. August of 2016, people dealt with more than 26 inches of rain in 48 hours. That caused a lot of problems, certainly a risk to life. So this city is prepared, and they have resources set up across the city to keep people safe when flooding begins. Let's look at Mandeville right now. Flooding is happening as the storm is coming.
Today's Best Western. What does that mean?
With rewards points that never expire, you get free nights fast. Now get a $20 Best Western gift card after your first day. Book now at bestwestern.com.
Now you can make any morning of the week feel like the weekend with Jimmy Dean Simple Scrambles, made fresh with 2 real eggs, sausage, and cheese, and ready in seconds.
Why don't you put a Sunday morning shine on tomorrow morning's breakfast?
Feed your imagination. Feed your excitement. Feed your hunger. When heroes get hungry, they get the $12 extra large superhero pizza at Papa John's.
It's only a matter of time until your check engine light comes on, or worse yet, your car needs repair. That could mean a big surprise auto repair bill. That's why it's so important you call CarShield today.
I was elated that I had CarShield. I was more than happy.
It's no fun when you have a car and it's broken and you can't pay for it to get it fixed.
So, if your vehicle has 5,000 to 150,000 miles, just tell us the make and model of your car or truck and get an instant plan quote. In a matter of minutes, you can be covered.
My experience with CarShield is that they absolutely come through every time I need them.
If my car breaks down, I can count on CarShield to cover it for me. CarShield definitely has my back.
Now it's the time to make the smart choice and protect yourself from sky-high auto repair bills. Call now for a free and instant protection plan quote. It's only a matter of time until repairs are needed, and once your car breaks down, it's too late.
Call 1-800-768-1526 or go to carshield.com. Get covered today.
New Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline has 4 levels of defense against gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. And that helps keep your engine running like new. It's fuel for thought.
Lowe's knows you're the powerhouse who does it right, who knows the right tool has no equal. As a leader in outdoor power equipment, we do it right too, so you can show your yard who's boss. Now get a Craftsman string trimmer for $99. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's.
Try Drive Up at Target, delivered to your car door so you can do more. More refill. More recharge. More relax. Target run and done.
With worsening weather patterns, an aging vulnerable power grid, and the growing risk of cyber terrorism, power outages are a part of life now. That can be stressful because we depend on power more than ever. When the power goes out, we lose everything. We can't even charge our smartphones. Now more than ever, you need a Generac automatic home standby generator. With Generac, power stays on in your house, even if you're not at home. Generac's automatic home standby generators start at just $19.99. Special financing is available with affordable monthly payments. Plus, with the Generac mobile link, you can check on your generator anytime. Call or go online to schedule your free in-home assessment. And if you act right now, you'll receive our 7-year extended limited warranty, a $695 value, absolutely free. Control your power and control your life with a Generac.
This is epic!
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got a severe weather threat. We are live on the ground.
Right now, it's coming down.
The Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 82 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Today, sunny, high 88. Winds west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, mainly clear skies. Low 75. Winds west-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunday, sunny skies. High 89. Winds northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
In case you're just joining us this morning, the latest advisory from the Hurricane Center has us now with Hurricane Barry. 75-mile-per-hour hurricane, but as we've been talking about, Dr. Postel and I back and forth, not much difference between a 70-mile-an-hour tropical storm and a 75-mile-per-hour hurricane in terms of damage. But you can see there's already damage. This was before it was named a hurricane. Roof peeled back here. This is Bayou Vista, by the way. This is down west, I believe, or near Morgan City. I can't remember if it was west or east, but either way, because I've shown you so many spots, you can see some of these rain bands have actually brought down some of the stronger winds aloft. And this is one of the things the Hurricane Center has been talking about, how, can we get some of those stronger winds down to the earth, or near the surface of the earth? And you can certainly see with the kind of damage there, a 60 or 70 mile per hour gust, perhaps even a little bit stronger than that, helped to peel that roof back. And this is interesting too, because we showed you the damage, but we're also showing you the rain. So my thinking is, with that band or that shower that came in, it actually aided bringing the wind down. So I like to see these videos of the same area virtually taken almost at the same time. And look at the wind there. You know what, Lisa? It would be interesting to talk to Brett Adair, too, about what he thinks. Did we have a tornado there, potentially, or, a quick little spin up? Not really sure if it was just a downburst in terms of wind. So let's get him on the phone as well, and we'll get an idea of what he's thinking. But either way, file video, just saw this. Again, guys, I just showed you this last block here. This is Mandeville, Louisiana. This is on the northern side of Lake Pontchartrain. Charles Peak, call him the birthday boy because it is his birthday. He's gone across the causeway, and I talked about the fact that you have a south-southeast wind now, which has pushed that water now on the northern side of the lake. And you can see here it's about 3-4 feet high. All right? But of note, no homes with water reported in here. Okay, so that is the key. As I just mentioned, Barry is now a hurricane. It is a minimal hurricane at 75 miles per hour. The strength difference, again, upgraded from data that the Hurricane Hunter aircraft has given us. And if you remember, the reanalysis of Michael brought it from a Category 4 hurricane to a Category 5 because of intense analysis of that data. So you can go back and look at things and say, you know what? There's probably a chance this was, especially given what we look at structurally and certainly what we've seen from the SFMR, the Hurricane Hunter plane, data that we could call this a Cat 5, and that's what they did. They upgraded it to 160-mile-an-hour hurricane. But that was Michael. This is Barry. Notice one thing, though, I want you to note on the satellite picture, how those deep purples, that deep convective burst out there is starting to disappear. And that is that may help us in the wind department. That essentially means the tops are getting warmer, or the thunderstorms are not getting as tall, potentially, as they were. So that may mean less wind being transported down toward the surface. But I'll tell you, we're far from over with this. Even though the center is still about 40, 50 miles offshore, or south of, I should say, Lafayette or Morgan City, we are still going to see a tremendous amount of rain come into Louisiana. Louisiana has not seen the worst of the rain yet. That should start to come in later on this afternoon, on into tonight, and on into tomorrow as well, as that center moves on to the north. All right, let's bring in Dr. Greg Postel, our hurricane specialist, and talk a little bit about this. Greg, again, slow movement, tropical system, south and east side loaded. That spells a significant flood risk, doesn't it?
Oh, my goodness, it does. I mean, there's like an endless feed of tropical moisture coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. Right. And putting in the big context here, this is a really awkward-looking hurricane. If you think about it, it's not at all classic. It's got most of the bad weather lopsided on one end of it. And you can see where the center of circulation is. There's really not much rain at all. As you mentioned, a lot of it's 250 miles to the east over Mississippi and Alabama. And a lot of it is south of the Louisiana coastline. That has yet to come on board, but it will. We can almost assure folks that that is the case. The weather is going to get worse and worse throughout the day, increasing wind and rain overall. You can almost see that starting to creep up there, Jim, on the radar charts here in this last animation, in the last couple of hours. It's starting to move on board. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to stop you for a second and stop right on that radar in Lake Charles. We've been talking about these little mesovortices. Get back to that radar for a second. Kind of rotating around the main broad center. What does that do when it comes offshore? Does it go down over water again and then come back up, potentially over the delta, over the Mississippi River, the mouth of the Mississippi River? Where does that thing go?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it looks like it's sort of taking the circuitous route right around that way, and it's probably going to dive southward. I don't think it's going to contribute any to the overall organization of Barry. I think it's more of a tracer, a passive tracer than anything else. It's kind of being sort of moved around by the larger gyre that is Barry. I mean, clearly it doesn't have a lot of rain with it, but I think we're just going to have to watch this prolonged south wind over the entire eastern half of Louisiana now and today, and then even areas to the west tonight and tomorrow to bring all that juice on board. Jim.
You know, Greg, even in the loop that you're showing us right there, I mean, look at the increase in the rainfall, which is now approaching southern Louisiana. So this is potentially, for Louisiana anyway, the beginning of the heavy rain period, right? Coming up in these areas that have been dealing with surge.
Yes, and this is the leading edge, I think, of some of the steadier and heavier rain and stronger wind that we're all going to see in southern Louisiana later on this morning and early afternoon and on into tonight, Jim. And it's going to be a long day ahead, and we are going to be right back with all the latest
updates
of
this hurricane
on now Hurricane
has a very good chance of happening well after landfall. Stick around.
The Lab is brought to you by State Farm. There for when things go wrong, but also here to help life go right.
Wish you were here to see how bright the human spirit can shine. To see that no matter what nature does, people will do more. With one of the industry's largest catastrophe response teams, State Farm will always be among the first to arrive and the last to leave. To help show that human nature is greater than nature.
Don't miss your golden opportunity to experience our most advanced safety technology on a full line of vehicles. Now at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event.
Lease the 2019 ES350 for $379 a month for 36 months and we'll make your first month's payment.
Experience amazing.
This is 30 calories. This is 30 calories. This is not going to cut it. This will. V8. The V is for vegetables. Drink some.
Everybody has sunglasses, but most sunglasses just make everything darker and are useless when it comes to blinding glare. Not these. Nick Bolton here with the latest from Bell & Howell. We call them TAC glasses. Inspired by the sunglasses worn by our heroes in uniform, TAC glasses can do things no ordinary sunglasses can do, like block blinding glare so well, invisible objects suddenly become visible. Look, ordinary sunglasses just make things darker, which could be deadly in a tactical situation. TAC glasses improve optical clarity so you can see clearly, even in low light. If you've never seen how this light filtering technology works, check this out. Nothing to see, right? But look again as we hold up our TAC glasses. A colorful American eagle is revealed. Amazing.
Take a look at the screen.
Yes.
What do you see?
I see a plain white screen.
It's just a plain white screen. Now look up through our sunglasses.
Whoa, this is cool.
How does it do that? That is so awesome.
What? Oh my. Whoa, what? That is so cool. That is amazing. How does it do that? Like an eagle pops out of nowhere.
Very, very cool.
Whether you're on the trail or on the golf course, on the water or on the slopes, with TAC glasses, you'll always see clearly without any glare. There's just nothing like it on the market today.
Act now to get your TAC glasses for just $19.99 with free shipping. We'll also include a blank card that reveals our American Eagle when you put on your TAC glasses. Order today and you can also get our night vision TAC glasses. Just pay a separate fee. They help protect your natural night vision to improve optical clarity in low light. You can get both, so don't delay. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-902-5828 or go to TriTacGlasses.com. Again, that's 1-800-902-5828 or order online at TriTacGlasses.com. That's 1-800-902-5828.
When I am helping a customer, I need to treat everybody the way I would want them to treat my family. I am a country girl, so that's what we do. I want them to know that I really want to help you. That's what I'm here for. People may not remember what you say, but they always remember how you make them feel. My name is Lola, and I am proud to keep your car running newer, longer.
Fixed right, priced right, right on time. The triple promise, only at Firestone Complete Auto Care.
All right, guys, again, looking at some pictures here. We're constantly getting new pictures in from Morgan City in Louisiana. This is, again, of wind damage here. It looks like some type of motel where the roof, the aluminum roof, has been pulled back as a result of some strong winds. Now, this is where Brett Adair has been. We've also seen damage to a structure, which was, if you will, kind of a casing for a mobile unit. And even some power line damage there. Looks like power is out, as Stephanie mentioned earlier, in Morgan City, Louisiana, as a result of some of these strong winds, which have gusted. The official one I saw was 57 miles per hour there, but it could have been certainly higher than that. We've seen some gusts down to ground level at 65 to about 70 miles an hour. All right, let's take you over to Mandeville in Louisiana. You can see some of the flooding there. This is on the north side of Lake Pontchartrain. So yesterday, if you remember watching us in the morning, we were on the southwest side. Winds were out of the east-northeast, and that's where the water was pushed. Now this is on the north side of the lake. So all of that has been pushed now from the south to the northern side of Lake Pontchartrain, and that's where Mandeville, Louisiana is. This is a Charles Peak video. Some of this earlier up to mailboxes, and it's kind of interesting, too, one of those mailboxes where the water actually looks like it's come down a little bit. Let's find out. Charles Peak, you made your way up there across the causeway. Charles, this looks exactly like what we were broadcasting with yesterday near the marina and the yacht club. It's just the wind's from a different direction. The water's got the same features, doesn't it?
Jim, it's actually worse than it was yesterday in that now it's actually coming over the barriers and up the streets here a little stronger. It's gone back and forth. Residents here just telling me it came up bad about 4 a.m. and then went back. And then it started coming back up about 7 a.m. But they said in the last hour it's receding just a little, but it's fluctuated a little bit as it's gone through the last several hours here with, I'm going to assume, the wind direction being the biggest factor.
I don't know how much driving around you've done, but have you seen any water encroaching homes?
I just talked here. Every place I've been so far, Jim, is that it's not in any homes. They've got elevated here along the shores. It's a little further back. There is getting up closer to the doors. But at this point in time, I have not seen any homes where it's actually been. They've all moved their cars back. They're used to this situation here in Mandeville, but it is something they're still facing here.
Yeah, I can't remember actually if we have a storm surge warning on the northern side of Lake Pontchartrain. I've looked at so many advisories. I know we got a flood watch. I know we have, all those kind of things. But Pete, we appreciate it.
Jim, they put out a storm surge warning. Yeah, they put a storm surge warning out here yesterday. So, they had the warning in place.
Okay. All right. So, again, guys, you can see the direction of the echoes over Lake Pontchartrain. Now we got rain in addition to the surge going on the northern side, which is all pushing all that water on the northern side of the lake. Not surprising. And here, even in New Orleans, we're almost at a steady rain now from this point on. So I'm going to put the rain jacket on before I get super soaked all the way down. So yesterday, again, winds were out of the east-northeast. That meant the western side of the lake, if you will. Today, they're out of the south. So it's just pushed the water in a total different direction. All right, Dr. Greg Postel, let's bring you back in. Greg, from what you've been looking at, observation-wise, radar-wise, especially observation-wise, let's start with that. Have you seen anything different than, let's say, even as of a couple hours ago? Some areas where the winds are increasing or have changed direction at all?
No, not really. And the problem is that's the case, that we really haven't seen much change in the wind direction over southeastern Louisiana. I'm showing you this map on the bottom right part of your screen with that prolonged and sustained south-southeast wind continuing to push that water on the north side of Lake Pontchartrain, where you and Charles Peak were talking, and you can see that on the top right part of your screen. And the fact that that's not going to change much today is a real problem, because it's going to continue the flooding in that part of Pontchartrain and areas in southern Louisiana. Jim.
And as we heard, too, down in Lafourche Parish, where the water's come across, I think Highway 1, the officer was saying, that area, Grand Isle's cut off at this point. So you can't get in and out of Grand Isle as a result of that because of the water. Postel, in terms of the radar, especially, let's go down a little bit, kind of along the border of Louisiana and the Gulf of Mexico. Does it look like the echoes are increasing in coverage and intensity, or either or?
Looks like they're increasing in coverage, Jim. We have got that flow out of the Gulf of Mexico that is rich with moisture that is going to continue all day today and tonight and tomorrow. And for Louisiana, we've talked about this all morning long. The heaviest rain is yet to come later today and tonight and tomorrow, much of the day, and that is going to be measured in feet when it's all done. And you also mentioned, Jim, right now in western parts of Alabama and Mississippi, we're starting to see some very heavy rain continue. Flooding likely continues 250 miles away from the center of Hurricane Barry. We'll be right back.
There are 3 words that mean everything when you live with migraine. I am here. Aim to say that more with Aimovig, a preventive treatment for migraine in adults that reduces the number of monthly migraine days. For some, that number can be cut in half or more. Don't take Aimovig if you're allergic to it. Allergic reactions like rash or swelling can happen hours to days after use. Common side effects include injection site reactions and constipation. Aim to be there more. Talk to your doctor about Aimovig.
Okay, everyone, our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Great tasting Ensure with 9 grams of protein and 26 vitamins and minerals. Ensure for strength and energy.
Parents have a way of imagining the worst, especially when your easily distracted teenager has the car. At Subaru, we're taking on distracted driving with sensors that alert you when your eyes are off the road. The all-new Subaru Forester. The safest Forester ever.
If you have
with moderate to severe psoriasis, little things can be a big deal. That's why there's Otezla. Otezla is not a cream. It's a pill that treats plaque psoriasis differently. With Otezla, 75% clearer skin is achievable. Don't use if you're allergic to Otezla. It may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Otezla is associated with an increased risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts, or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Upper respiratory tract infection and headache may occur. Tell your doctor about your medicines and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Otezla, show more of you.
This has potassium. The same amount as this. It's a post-workout snack you don't have to peel. V8. The V is for vegetables. Drink some.
Need a nice reward today? Treat yourself to a Heath bar, because nothing says special like rich English toffee. Heath. It's English toffee.
Fact is, every insurance company hopes you drive safely. But Allstate actually helps you drive safely with DriveWise. It lets you know when you go too fast and brake too hard, with feedback to help you drive safer, giving you the power to actually lower your cost. Unfortunately, you can't do anything about that. Now that you know the truth, are you in good hands?
All right, guys, again, we continue to get new pictures in this morning of what is going on across areas, especially to our south, where we've had a combination of wind, heavy rain, and even storm surge. And look at Morgan City. Yeah, there's a roof of, looks like a lodge, motel, what have you, kind of peeled back, if you will, that aluminum roof. Barry now, by the way, a Category 1 hurricane. This was done before the Hurricane Center, which is the most recent advisory, has upgraded Barry to a Category 1 hurricane. Winds at 75 miles per hour. The center still offshore by about 40, 50 miles. So we'll see. Again, we're still crawling to the north in terms of what we got. Let's take you over to Mandeville, Louisiana. This is on the north side of Lake Pontchartrain. You can see here now the wind direction today is out of the south-southeast. So that is bringing the water up to the northern part of the lake. And as a result of that, as Charles Peak has been reporting, we've seen it come into streets, up to mailboxes, but not yet into homes. So that's what we want to continue to hear. These people know all too well this water does move around with the direction of the wind, and even with a thunderstorm, you can actually get water oversplashing in through here. So the lake is agitated like it was yesterday when we were down there near Landry's, okay, which is the southern Lakeshore Drive. So we're on the southern side of the lake. Today, this is the northern side of the lake on Lakeshore. These are live pictures now. Looks like a pretty heavy rain band is actually coming across the lake. And notice the wind, much, much stronger there than what we have here down on Bourbon Street in downtown New Orleans right now. So there's a long way to go with this. And I think some of the worst conditions will actually be felt after the center comes ashore. And so that's something we're going to continue to watch for places like New Orleans, for places like Jackson, Mississippi, for places like Baton Rouge, where Justin Michael has been talking to us as well. So heavy rain, again, starting to concentrate now to the east of the center and now move on shore in southeast Louisiana on a much more concentrated basis. And I think from this point on, we're just going to watch this get worse and worse. And I think for some of you, many of you actually, the worst of the effects will be after the center moves on shore. Just because the center moves on shore does not mean we are done with the storm. So what does that mean? We're going to go through tonight. We're going to go through tomorrow all day, and then possibly even into Monday and even into early Tuesday. That's a long duration. Where those rain bands exactly set up is the whole key to who deals with the major flooding, or at least flash flooding. And we'll find out where that is going to be. But certainly the best chances of that, Dr. Greg Postel, are going to be east of the center because this thing is so lopsided.
Yeah, that's the case, and it is raining very hard right now along and east of where the sort of center of low pressure of Hurricane Barry is. Here's a close-up view of your area in and around New Orleans and Mandeville, for example, on the northern edge of Lake Pontchartrain. As you mentioned, the rains are increasing in that area, and that southeast wind continues, and that will continue all day. And the conditions are only going to get worse as the wind increases a little bit and the rain increases a lot. That is what is to look forward to going through the afternoon hours and overnight tonight. This whole area is going to get a lot more rain than is showing right now on the radar. I can tell you that much right now. And Jim, you mentioned the lopsidedness. Look all the way over here across parts of Mississippi and Alabama. A basically stationary band of rain continues to feed in. Has several inches of rain already fallen since midnight. Several more to come, and flooding a real issue there. Jim.
So, Postel, I have to ask you as a meteorologist, and a doggone good one, have you ever seen the kind of shear over a non-developed system, as all this shear was going on, but also seen the system strengthen? Isn't that kind of amazing to you?
Yeah, I mean, some shear is not necessarily harmful to the development of a tropical cyclone. I mean, in some cases...
But cutting right across the center. I mean, cutting across of it.
Well, think about it this way. What it did was maybe prevent it from becoming a hurricane pretty quickly, right? Because, I mean, there were aspects of... Right, there were aspects of Barry that were loaded up and maybe ready to go. I mean, there was some pretty interesting dynamics ongoing underneath some of the clouds that we saw that looked kind of asymmetric and weird because of that wind shear. But had that wind shear not been there and the dry air that was accompanying that wind aloft, I might add that there was some very low relative humidities above about 20,000 feet, which kind of eroded the northern side of the circulation from cloud and rain. And we're still dealing with that now, thankfully, in some way.
Right.
But that really, just that right amount of wind shear with that dry air brought that into the interior of Barry and never really allowed it to mature in the way some models suggested it might.
I just don't think people realize how lucky we are here, Greg, because you had Lake Pontchartrain, which is full. You have the Mississippi River that normally is at about 6 to 9 feet, all right, running at 16.5 feet when the surge component moved in yesterday. And here's New Orleans in a bowl. So to have a fully robust Category 1 hurricane, maybe even a 2, as the H-Wharf was suggesting a couple of days ago. I don't even want to think about, what it would have been like here. It would have been a whole different story, certainly, in terms of evacuations. All right, is there anything you see, Greg, from some of the bands that are offshore coming north now that suggests, okay, you know what, maybe we'll get a little spin with these, water spout or maybe even a tornado? Anything like that showing up? I'm sorry, I left you with 10 seconds.
Not right now, but that's always a possibility across parts of Mississippi and Alabama with that rain band that is not moving and continues the flooding threat in that part of the northern Gulf Coast. We'll be right back with much more on Hurricane Barry.
This summer, keep your foot down and the volume up with best-in-class fuel economy and the most technologically advanced vehicle in its class, all in the Dodge Durango, America's fastest, most capable three-row SUV. Get yours at the Dodge Summer Clearance Event.
This is Hal. This is Hal's heart. It's been broken and put back together. This is also Hal's heart. And this is Hal's relief, knowing he's covered. This is Hal's heart, and it's beating better than ever. This is what Medicare from Blue Cross Blue Shield does for Hal. And with easy access to quality health care, imagine what we can do for you. This is the benefit of Blue.
The Home Depot's making it easy to turn your favorite moment into the perfect color to transform your room with the Project Color app. Explore the most popular colors and trending palettes to find yours. Get a colorful new experience with the Project Color app. Then get everything you'll need at your destination for the best brands. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
Is this our new car? It's a new Buick Envision. And I got it with Wi-Fi for all of your Wi-Fi stuff.
Wireless charging for your phone.
Cool. Wait till you check out the back. It's a lot of groceries. Look at my strong man.
Don't patronize me.
The new Buick Envision. It's full of surprises. Current eligible GM owners get up to 16% below MSRP on most of these 2019 Buick models. That's just over $7,000 on this Envision Premium.
Today's Best Western. What does that mean?
With rewards points that never expire, you get free nights fast. Now get a $20 Best Western gift card after your first stay. Book now at bestwestern.com.
Hey, Chuck Woolery here with a bit of a confession. I have a new favorite emu oil. Forget the imitators. There's only one Blue Emu. Get American-made Blue Emu. It works fast and you won't stink. You're on.
Do you use catheters? Are you using the catheter that's really best for you?
Oh, yeah. For years, I'd been using one kind of catheter, and I never knew that there were other really great catheters available until Liberator sent me samples to try. If I had not tried the samples from Liberator, I might never have found the perfect catheter for me. Liberator Medical sent me a catheter that was easier for me to use right out of the package. Now that I've found the best catheter for me, it's made my life much easier. My catheters were completely paid for, not a dime out of my pocket.
There are so many innovative catheters. Get the best catheter for you. Call Liberator Medical. Get your free catheter sample pack.
Call 1-800-745-1930. That's 1-800-745-1930.
This is epic!
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got a severe weather threat. We are live on the ground.
Right now, it's coming down.
The Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 82 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Today, sunny, high 88. Winds west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, mainly clear skies. Low 75. Winds west-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunday, sunny skies. High 89. Winds northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
In our continuing coverage of Hurricane Barry, last advisory from the Hurricane Center, up the winds to 75 miles per hour. So now we have a minimal hurricane, a Category 1 hurricane. Not much difference in terms of the outcome going on here, but we have not yet gotten into the worst of this, I promise you, in the state of Louisiana. Let's check out Plaquemines Parish. This is obviously an earthen levee. This is seeing water rush over the top of that levee. A not good thing. This is why they evacuated. All right. This was taken by Billy Nungesser. If you remember me talking to him yesterday morning, he was very concerned about this levee. Think about it. Okay. He was talking a lot about how literally for months now we have had so much water with logs and whatnot coming down past this levee. It's just been pounding on it and beating it. Now you've got essentially the storm surge component and the high river as it is overtopping that levee. So it looks like there's a little bit of an escape route for that money, but I don't know how deep that is in terms of other areas of real estate into Plaquemines Parish. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, by the way, taking these pictures and video for us and sending it to us. Thank you, Billy. We appreciate you, buddy. All right, so Port Fourchon, Louisiana, looking again at some type of ship. All right, just off a ship here. Don't know if this is something they use near the oil rigs or whatnot, but they're a little higher up. You can get a good idea of how reduced the visibility is because of the heavy rain and the wind out and through this area. So it's rocking. Barry, again, even though it's disorganized and it looks just pathetic on satellite, it doesn't matter. It still has the rain bands with it. It still has a lot of the energy east and south of that center, which still has to come on shore. I mean, the center is still offshore. All right, so we're going to have to wait till that moves on shore. We'll probably see, I think, a better radar presentation tomorrow as the whole thing consolidates and tightens up. And, of course, then are the rain bands. Where are they going to be? Are they going to be over New Orleans? They're going to be over Baton Rouge? They're going to be over Jackson, Mississippi? I'm thinking all of us will get to share the wealth here. All right, let's find out how they were getting ready for it in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And interestingly enough, August 2016, we had about 24 to 29 inches of rain in and around Baton Rouge. Just ridiculous from a storm that wanted to be, Justin. But again, I think the point to be made is some of the worst weather for Baton Rouge doesn't happen at landfall. It happens after whatever the storm is comes ashore.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and I think that's the big concern here. They were expecting to get some rain last night. We know that didn't happen. Now that the wind is really coming in, the rain is beginning to come in. Taking a look at the radar, there's that huge swath of rain that's making its way up here nice and slowly, like this storm has been doing the entire time. They're concerned here because of what happened in 2016. People remember that very vividly, what they lived through, wading through water, trying to get out of their homes, not having the time to prepare. And here we are with another storm that could dump maybe as much water, maybe as much rain. A big concern. Let's talk to Ed Smith, the fire chief for 16 years here in Baton Rouge. Chief, you know, we got the wind right now, right? You're out by the airport where your station is. You're feeling it out there even more than we are downtown. Correct. But the rain is now coming in. This is what we've been preparing for. How is the city prepared?
We're getting prepared by joining forces. We get city police, fire, boats, all our boats and assets that we have available to us, and we developed a plan to sector off the city and disperse our equipment according to the needs. That way, if we get high water on one side, we have assets on the east or west side, and are developing those plans and are ready and poised to take care of the worst. And great. So far, it's been better than we anticipated, and that's what we continue to hope for.
Well, and you guys had a major sandbagging effort going on here. People could come and get sandbags at 11 different locations. I mean, this city learned a lot almost 3 years ago and has learned a lot over the years. You know, you don't want to look at a flood like 2016 as a good thing, but did that kind of a flood, that much rain, and that little bit of time, 2 days, help you learn more about what to do? Do you think that helped this storm?
Definitely. We see it in citizens that preparing better. They're taking care of the things that they need to take care of. And just like I heard right this morning before we left, I mean, we've dispersed more sand than we've ever dispersed. Mm-hmm. So people are doing it ahead of time. And, you know, like I say, the event of having it happen to you in 16, we feel has caused people to look forward and go ahead and take care of the needs that they need to take care of.
Well, Chief, I know you've been cruising around town. I know police. We've seen police out all over the place. We've seen, you know, city resources out. What are you seeing when you drive around the city?
Well, due to the light wind, we've had several trees that fell, and due to the moisture in the ground, most of those are, you know, the roots get loose and they turn over. And other than that is light traffic. People are heeding to the advice of staying off the road. Being a Saturday and a weekend, we don't have a lot of the, you know, work traffic and school traffic. So the light traffic has been a positive for us as responders.
And Chief, we only have a couple more seconds. Is Baton Rouge ready for whatever Barry brings?
Yes, sir. We're ready.
All right. Chief Ed Smith, thank you so much for your time. Good to see you again, Chief.
Thank you.
Going to get through this storm. You heard the Chief say this city is ready for what Barry is going to bring. Now, Hurricane Barry, of course, is beginning to bear down here in Baton Rouge. Let's see how much rain actually comes, hopefully on the low end of the scale. We're back after this.
Lowe's knows you're the powerhouse who does it right, who knows the right tool has no equal. As a leader in outdoor power equipment, we do it right too, so you can show your yard who's boss. Now get a Craftsman string trimmer for $99. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's.
I drive up, I bring people Dish. I love it. Why? Because what I bring makes people go, whoa. Over 80,000 on-demand movies and shows. A voice remote that leaves them speechless. Live TV streamed instantly. And it's all getting us some pretty big awards, but my reward is that moment when I let them drive.
Wow. Ranked #1 in customer satisfaction. Dish, tuned into you. Is that for me?
Quick! The Quicker Picker-Upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker and is 2 times more absorbent than the leading Ordinary brand. Bounty, the Quicker Picker-Upper.
Try Target same-day delivery. Deliver to your door so you can do more. More thrill. More skill. More chill. Target run and done.
People say if you have occasional constipation, you should know the location of a decent bathroom. My gut says take new Benefiber Healthy Balance. This daily supplement helps maintain digestive health naturally while relieving occasional constipation and abdominal discomfort. New Benefiber Healthy Balance.
This is 30 calories. This is 30 calories. This is not going to cut it. This will. V8. The V is for vegetables. Drink some.
Think all premium fuels are the same? New Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline is engineered with 4 levels of defense against gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. That helps keep your engine running like new. So maybe it's time to unthink what you think about premium fuel. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. It's fuel for thought.
So Kim, you going for a big Drive Safe and Save discount?
Yep, using the app, I've been quite vigilant.
Sharon says step on it, the meeting started.
Okay, write her back. Dear Sharon, don't mess with my discount.
Faster, Mommy, I gotta go to the bathroom.
I do too, honey, but we're gonna hold it for Mommy's discount.
Easy, easy. But you're in labor.
Don't mess with my discount!
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save from State Farm.
We've already seen those winds gusting over 50 miles an hour.
The bad weather, the heavy rain, and the wind spread far and wide.
All right, guys, looking again at video, a lot of this has come in within the last hour or two of now what is Hurricane Barry. Yeah, if you're just joining us this morning, this afternoon, of course, depending on where you are, we are dealing with a hurricane. Winds have been found by the Hurricane Center to be up to 75 miles per hour now with this. Let's take you down, though, and show you some of the impacts because TS or hurricane, the issues are going to be the same. I promise. I've done enough of these. Let's take a look at Lafourche in Parrish here. This is interesting, certainly, as we take you down and through here because we've had wind push water over Highway 1. So you know what this means? If you're trying to head in and out of Grand Island, you're not. That's the only way in. It's the only way out. So, you know, they're well aware of this. This has certainly happened before. And we had a great interview earlier with the police department down there saying, you know, things certainly have a chance of just kind of staying that way for a while, given the persistent wind. Let's take you to Mandeville, though. This is where Charles Peak went up to. All right, so now look at this. So the water was high enough that it was kind of splashing over the seawall. Now the waves and the water are high enough where the waves are just kind of running through and over the top of the seawall. So it's gotten a lot higher, is the point. And this is where Charles Peak is. And let's talk to him about what he's seen. So, Charles, again, because I've seen your pictures earlier when you got here, it almost looks like the water is higher than, let's say, 20 minutes ago when I talked to you last. Confirm or deny?
Yeah, Jim, it has. We had a pretty good squall line. I think the one that you had just a little while ago came over here across the lake and caused the wave action to pick up quite a bit. And so it's crashing more so here along Lakeshore Drive in the marina area here. Again, I'm back out on the Lakeshore Drive right now, so I'm not sure where I was earlier if it's pushing back up yet.
So, Charles, normally, and I don't know if you've been here before, so this may not be a fair question, you could walk out there to the seawall, right? And there may be, like on the south side of the lake we had yesterday, the steps that go down a ways. Is that the same case there, or do you know that or not?
I'm not sure, but from what I
don't know.
Yeah, from what I understand, that's the case here. But I've never been here before myself, so I can't answer it for sure. But you've got in front of me here, what these waves are crashing is actually Lakeshore Drive. So that's normally a road there you would be driving down. And obviously right now it's not a road.
And interesting, guys, this looks very familiar to what we had yesterday, although the water was not as high. And because it was lower, it was actually crashing into and then spraying up on the seawall. Charles was there when we were doing that. And now you've got water that's risen so high on the northern side of Lake Pontchartrain, which is where he is in Mandeville. Because of the south wind, now the water has gone in that direction. If you were watching Reynolds Wolf a couple of hours ago with us, he was in the same place we were yesterday and it was docile. The water was down. There was no waves virtually at all. And that is simply due to the change in wind direction. All right, Pete, before I let you go, still looking at a situation where we don't have water in homes, right?
Correct. Talking to local police at this point in time, they are concerned that high tide will be about 9 p.m. tonight, and so they're concerned when high tide and also the additional rainfall that could be concerned getting into homes if the water continues to rise.
All right, so again, to point to our talk this earlier, the worst of this may be after landfall for a lot of areas, especially in Louisiana and Mississippi. Charles Peak, I thank you, buddy. Happy birthday, by the way, Charles. I know you're out working on your birthday today, so we appreciate that. We'll talk to you later, buddy, because we're actually seeing a little bit of rise there in the water. All right, so earlier on, I was showing you pictures down in Lafourche Parish. We've got issues in Terrebonne Parish as well. Let's find out how they're doing. Colonel Terry Vague is with us on the phone, I believe. And let's talk a little bit to him about what's happening in Terrebonne Parish. Colonel, thanks for talking to us. What's the latest?
Jim, we're still experiencing some pretty heavy winds. They're still coming out of the south, which, we prefer to turn to the north eventually when the storm gets up from us. We are dealing with a tidal surge south of our Morganza to the Gulf Levee project, but it appears that our levee and our storm, our lock system has worked. It's held it back so that we've got no flooding or no surge north of that levee system.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think of Terrebonne and how it's situated with levees. Is it a combination of earthen and cement? Just earthen, just cement? Remind me.
Yes, it's earth and cement, and then we have the lock systems that close off the actual waterways that come into the parish.
Close it off, yep. All right, so far so good out of Terrebonne.
On the north end of that levee project. Now, below it, we do have some flooding. It is actually still too deep for us to drive down and kind of evaluate exactly how much we have.
Did you get people that were under the evacuation or voluntarily evac? Are you pleased with how that went, or are there potentially folks down there now in that water?
We had a few evacuate, Jim, but we actually had an issue during the early morning hours this morning before daybreak on Island Road out of Pointe-à-Chantre. Some people south of the levee that were supposed to evacuate, they ignored that evacuation. Things got real bad. The water came up real high, and they had to call us for a rescue. Unfortunately, by the time they called, the weather conditions were so bad and the water levels were so high, we didn't have the equipment to get to them. We had to call in the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard had to rescue them by helicopter.
Okay, and so they have been rescued at this point, and they're safe. They're on dry ground, if you will.
That's correct. They have been rescued, Jim.
All right, Colonel, thanks for talking to us this morning. Colonel Terry Vague, again, out of Terrebonne Parish. Keep us posted, sir, because you're kind of in one of those situations where, again, where the earthen levees are, we've had overwash. Now you're in that area is underwater, as we expected. Okay, as we expect in a lot of these areas. You saw the pictures out of Plaquemines from Billy Nungesser that he shared with us, where we're actually seeing the levee overtopped. And the fact is that levee's had a lot of water pressure on it over the past several months because there's been so much water going down the Mississippi River. All right, speaking of water going down the Mississippi River, Justin, I'm sure you have this. That's why I'm going to ask you and lead with you with this. How many days in Baton Rouge have we been not just at flood stage, but at major flood stage? And how long do they expect the water to stay high? Because we're still dealing with water coming down the Mississippi.
That's right. That's right. More than 100 days, major flood stage. And we were talking with people yesterday, Jim. They're saying they're not expecting it to dip below major flood stage, regardless of what the hydrograph says on the National Weather Service forecasting for it. They're saying through the end of August as the earliest before it dips below major flood stage. It's just unprecedented. It's really something that is causing a lot of trouble here. And though the flooding on the Mississippi is not going to overtake the levee here, that's not the concern. But the flooding on the Mississippi is a major concern for a couple different reasons. Chief among them, the rain that's falling today and the rain that's going to fall the rest of this day and into tomorrow. They maybe 12 to 18 inches of rain that's going to fall over the next 24 hours. It's going to drain more slowly into the tributaries that eventually will lead out into the Mississippi because all the drainage points are underwater right now. So it's not like it's going to drain off of a cliff and into the water. Right now, those drainage points are under the water, so they're going to have to push out into flowing water, if you can imagine that. That's the biggest problem right now. So are we going to have a repeat of 2016? August of 2016, they had about 26 inches of rain over the course of 48 hours. Let's certainly hope not, because that was a really devastating couple days there for this city. And it was just earlier this year, they had somebody die in their car because of flash flooding. So the people are heeding the warnings. If there is some kind of a silver lining coming from 2016 and coming from the flooding earlier this year, it's the fact that people have those memories fresh in their minds. They know they don't want to have to deal with what they dealt with back then. They know they don't want to find themselves stuck on the road when the water starts to come up around their car. All right? If there is any kind of a silver lining coming from the past, it's that. People's memories are fresh, and they're still a little shell-shocked, or is the description we're getting from a lot of people about how they feel about what could come from now Hurricane Barry. So, Jim, I'll tell you what, we've got the wind coming in now. We're clocking 39-mile-an-hour gusts out at the airport, sustained in the mid to upper 20s. We even had a gust earlier today, Jim, at Tiger Stadium over at LSU of 60 miles per hour. So the wind is coming, the rain is really building, and we know that this is going to be probably a long next 24 hours here in Baton Rouge. Jim, into you. Or Jim, back to you.
You're absolutely right. Hey, so, Justin, when I talk to you next time, I want to talk about the Morganza spillway. It's been a big discussion of controversy. They've had to open it twice so far. Is there talk of that again, potentially, because of what might happen with Barry? So I'll let you talk about that next time, but just something to get in your head, buddy. I appreciate it. Great report as always, Justin Michaels. All right, I want to bring in Dr. Greg Postel to see what he's seeing. Postel, I want to talk about the satellite presentation on IR, which, you know, we see all these deep purples. You know, we know that certainly is usually located somewhat nearby with very heavy rain. Over the last hour or so, some of that has collapsed. Is there any regeneration, or do you see that as a continuing trend on the IR presentation?
Probably more of a trend, maybe a steady state, maybe a slow warming of some of the cloud tops, meaning some of the thunderstorms not as strong as they were, say, 12 or 24 hours ago. But overall, there's the animation. I'm glad you brought that up because I had that keyed. I thought maybe I'd ask that question. But there you go. There's some of those brighter cloud tops shown on this infrared shot, meaning that's where all the biggest rain and biggest thunderstorm activity is. Still, for the most part, offshore, Jim, and I think that needs to also be balanced with the fact of what's going on in Mississippi and Alabama on the edge of that bulk of thunderstorm activity over the water south of Louisiana, because it's out here 250 miles away from the center, Jim, where we're seeing continually heavy rain driving out of the Gulf of Mexico into the northern Gulf Coast. Several inches of rain already been reported in many locations. Back to you, Jim.
The other reason I asked you that too, Greg, is because even though we may have lost some of the higher cloud tops or the deeper convection, if you will, we don't need to be up around 40, 50,000 feet with some of this stuff to produce 2 to 3 inches an hour, do we? So even though we may see that coming down, that still doesn't mean we're out of the woods for heavy rain, does it?
Coming onshore into the northern Gulf Coast is right out in that zone where the clouds on this infrared shot don't look like the most intense ones, right? We've got the colors of yellow and green there. You might think, well, the weather's not that bad over on this side of the circulation. Well, in fact, right in here is where the heaviest rain is. So just because the cloud tops are warming, get to your original point, just because it looks maybe less impressive, they are only increasing.
How far out Greg, does the rain, and you may just have to measure this by using the IR satellite again, because we don't have radar presentation out past 248 nautical miles, but how far out does that deep convection go? Is all that I see off the Texas coast even going to rotate up into Louisiana? Is that coming north too?
Well, you're wondering if this batch right out in here is going to make it onshore. In some version or another, is going to move inland. The whole thing is coming on board, maybe in bits and pieces, but during the next 48 hours, we're going to see all of that mess eventually push inland and carry all the bad weather with it. It's coming. There's no way around it.
Because of this delay in landfall, Greg, and I haven't got a chance to look at this yet this morning, was there any change to WPC? Because of this delay in landfall, Greg, and I haven't got a chance to look at this yet. We know that New Orleans is under a high likelihood, a very likelihood area of flash flooding today. Have they upped that for tonight and tomorrow in some of these areas?
Well, I haven't seen that update yet.
Or are we still moderate?
No, I haven't seen that update yet, but I'm going to extend this forecast just a little bit because it doesn't end today or tomorrow. Going into early next week, flash flooding is likely in the Tennessee Valley, all the way across parts of northern Mississippi, Arkansas, southern Missouri, and western Tennessee. As I said, that whole thing is coming on board. Yeah, it will sort of gradually evolve and maybe even devolve, weaken a little bit as it does. But the rain goes way inland with this system, and a lot of it as it's carrying all that Gulf moisture in tow. Jim.
Rise up. Posty, always appreciate you, buddy. Great insight as always. I'm willing to bet for all of you watching out there, looking for this beautiful little circulation center, that it'll show up tomorrow. All right, let's find out what's happening here, get some of the latest information. Liana Brackett back in the Weather Channel studios with an update. Liana, hello.
All right. Hey, Jen, thanks so much. Well, we want to update you with what we know this hour. Barry, now a Category 1 hurricane with maximum sustained winds of 75 miles per hour. The U.S. Coast Guard had to rescue 12 people in Terrebonne Parish, where waters are rising. Power outages are mounting in Louisiana. Right now, more than 77,000 customers are without power across the state, and at least 10 airlines have canceled flights for today, either flying to or from New Orleans International Airport. All right, Jim, take it away.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we had some folks coming down Bourbon Street just a while ago that said, oh my gosh, Jim, we're bummed out because we couldn't make our flight today. And I said, you picked a heck of a place to be bummed out at, especially here in New Orleans. Again, guys, our heaviest rain comes in here tonight, probably through tomorrow as well. We have a good chance of showers, maybe even some thunderstorms as this center comes ashore. And it brings with it all of that rain, all of that red that you showed, Dr. Greg Postel showed on the infrared satellite. Our Barry coverage continues.
I can't believe it. That I won the Best of sweepstakes and I get to be in this Geico commercial?
Let's do the eyebrows first. Just tease it a little. Slather it all over. Don't hold back.
Well, the squirrels followed me all the way out to California, and there's a very strange badger staring at me.
No, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico.
Where's the camel?
Mr. Big Shot's got his own trailer.
Roll out, rush in, drop back, defend on.
Believe it. Geico could save you 15% or more on your car insurance.
As a bride-to-be, this is one of the most important days of my life, and you know who wasn't invited? Mosquitoes. That's why we've always had Orkin. Carl's so good. It's like he's never really left.
Ladies, I've got lavender and coconut.
Isn't he the cutest?
All good here. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Movie.
Yeah. Right. It's a Venus flytrap.
Oh.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Fruit Loops, a delicious part of this complete breakfast.
With Domino's Carry-Out Insurance, we'll remake your order for free if anything happens to it on the route.
on the way home, even if it's not your fault. Like if it's whoever that guy's chasing's fault. Or if it's man's best friend's fault. Or even if it is, ultimately, your fault. Carry out Domino's large 3-topping pizzas for $7.99 each. With Domino's carry-out insurance, just bring it back and we'll remake it for free.
I'm Jimmy Dean, and I wish I could tell you how I feel about a morning like this. And that includes a good hearty breakfast. You need something to kind of warm the whole body up and get it going. It's a great way to kick off your day.
This has potassium. The same amount as this. It's a post-workout snack you don't have to peel. V8. The V is for vegetables. Drink some.
Teeth sensitivity is so common. Drinking or sipping the hot and cold water, it feels like, somebody's poking directly on the nerve. I recommend Sensodyne. Sensodyne goes inside the tooth and calms the nerve. My patients come back to me and say, doc, it really works.
If your joints feel stiff, sore, and achy, it will get worse if you do nothing.
But most products just temporarily hide the symptoms.
Now there's something different. Instaflex Advanced.
It targets the root cause of joint soreness and stiffness. It doesn't just cover up symptoms.
Instaflex Advanced bathes your joints in its cutting-edge combination of 5 key natural ingredients found in no other product for relief you can feel, backed by 5 clinical studies. For your complimentary 2-week sample of Instaflex Advanced, text FLEX to 321321.
Don't wait while your stiff, achy joints get worse. Target the root cause with Instaflex Advanced today. It's so powerful you could feel the difference in just 1 week. Maybe that's why it's the #1 selling joint brand at GNC.
But you can only get your complimentary 2-week sample by texting FLEX to 321321. That's FLEX to 321321. Do it now.
This is epic!
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got a severe weather threat.
We are live on the ground. Right now, it's coming down.
The Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 83 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Today, abundant sunshine. High 88. Winds west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, generally clear. Low 75. Winds west-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunday, mainly sunny. High 89. Winds northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
All right, guys, again, just to give you an update now, what is Hurricane Barry out there, still offshore. All right, we have not had a landfall yet at Barry. And if you remember, even 24 to 30 hours ago, this thing was supposed to be on shore now, but it's not. It's got multiple centers kind of rotating around one main one, so it's kind of complicated. It never really developed an inner core, but it's still a very wet system that is what we call asymmetrical or loaded on the east side and the south side. So as the center comes ashore, whether it be tonight or later on this afternoon, we are going to get all that rain moving to the north. In the meantime, we got a south wind on the east side of this. So that's brought the water up in places like New Iberia, in Grand Island. It's brought it up all the way east to Mobile Bay. There's a bit of a storm surge. And on Lake Pontchartrain, with today's wind being from south to north, if you're on the north side of the lake, which is St. Tammany Parish, you're dealing with a water rise there today, and as you can see, wave action. This is Lakeshore Drive, or if you will, now Lakeshore River, because it's underwater. All right, let's bring in Pat Brister. She is the president of St. Tammany Parish. Pat, thanks for talking to us. We appreciate that. You had a pretty good idea that once the winds changed out of the south, that you would be dealing with overwash as a result of this storm, right?
Yes, we were aware of that. We've had this in the past. It also blows so much water into the lake that our rivers can't drain into the lake. We're a gravity drainage system, and we need that drainage to keep our neighborhoods dry.
So here we're looking at pictures right now of the water that's coming over Lake Shore. It's coming over the seawall there. Does this threaten homes in the area? Do you expect it to get much higher?
Where you're looking at is in the Mandeville area, and it may get about a little higher. There's another area which is north of there that is affected more by the rivers that flow into that lake that you're looking at. So we're looking at some possible flooding in homes throughout the entire parish.
So if the water can't get out of the lake, or if you will, if it's being pushed on the northern side of the lake, that tends to hold the rivers back that come into the lake? Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. That's our drainage system.
Okay.
Our waters drain into the lake, and when they can't drain, they back into our neighborhoods and roads and streets. So we had this in 2016 in March. We had over 700 structures that were flooded.
Oh, wow. All right,
Yeah,
so what about additional rainfall? We know that's coming. Yeah, we know that's coming tonight and tomorrow. What is, let's say, 6 to 10 inches of water with the same wind that you've got going to do to this situation?
Well, it adds a couple more feet to our level, our river levels,
Oh, wow.
first of all. But more importantly, as you see, the storm is going north. So all the water that's being dumped up north drains toward the lake through our rivers. So it won't be just tomorrow's rain. It'll be whatever happens above us, too. When that rain hits those rivers, it will come down to us. So we're looking at this for a longer period of time.
You think you've seen enough water so far this spring and summer, Pat?
Yes, I do. But we're ready to do whatever we need to do and evacuate if necessary.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what is your advice right now for the residents of your parish?
We do not have a mandatory evacuation, but we're urging people that specific areas that they've been through this before. If they're not comfortable staying in their home for 3 days and not being able to get out because of water in the street, then they need to evacuate today, this morning. If they're comfortable sheltering in place, that's fine. We're here to help in any way we can, but they've been through it before. So we're just reminding them of what it was like in March of 2016.
All right, well, Pat, thank you very much for talking to us, certainly about this. This is an important situation. It's one we have to keep an eye on. Again, guys, another case in point where a lot of the impacts will be after the storm comes ashore. All right, and Pat certainly gave us an idea of that, and we need to check back with her, actually, in St. Tammany Parish. Again, that was the northern side of Lake Pontchartrain up in the Mandeville area. All right, so Justin Michaels, before I left you last, we talked about the Morganza, the fact that it's been open, again, a couple of times already this year. Any chances that may happen again or have to happen? It's a very controversial issue.
The simple answer is no. Yeah, it's very controversial. A lot of politics involved in it. The simple answer is no, they're not planning to open it. It takes 3 to 4 days to open it, so it'll be open by the time this thing is long since gone. But more importantly than that, Jim, it's very political, only because do you sacrifice one community at the expense of another? And that is a give and take that you have to play here. When they do open it, it can release 600,000 gallons per second of water. Okay, it can do that. But by doing that, you could be flooding other communities at the expense of New Orleans and other larger places. So again, it's not an easy answer, but the simple answer I can give you right now is no, they are not planning to open it according to the state of Louisiana.
Michaels, I appreciate that. Just a well thought out answer. But again, talking about the issues with the Morganza, and again, it is a last resort. They don't want to ever open it if they don't have to, but you have to relieve the water that's coming down, or you flood the city and you flood other areas. But it is at the expense of farmland and also seafood. And maybe we'll talk about that. The dead zone. Does the mixing of the water actually help that? Stick around.
Feed your imagination. Feed your excitement. Feed your hunger. When heroes get hungry, they get the $12 extra large superhero pizza at Papa John's.
So Kim, you going for a big Drive Safe and Save discount?
Yep, using the app. I've been quite vigilant.
Sharon says step on it, the meeting started.
Okay, write her back. Dear Sharon, don't mess with my discount.
Faster, Mommy, I gotta go to the bathroom.
I do too, honey, but we're gonna hold it for Mommy's discount. Easy, easy.
But you're in labor.
Don't mess with my discount!
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save from State Farm.
Every day, millions of people looking for healthy skin reach for Cetaphil, recommended by dermatologists, awarded by Allure, and most of all, loved by skin. Cetaphil, the cleanser sensitive skin loves.
Allergies make me miserable. It's hard to breathe and sleeping's awful. My doctor told me about Navage for allergy relief without drugs.
Navage relieves congestion fast by pulling saline in one nostril and out the other. Navage flushes out allergens, pollen, mucus, and germs.
I can breathe again and I sleep better. Navage is like nature's decongestant.
Find out for yourself and stop suffering. Try Navage for 90 days with zero risk when you buy online at Navage.com.
Anna, did you make 2 identical purchases of $104 at Cotton Claw?
Capital One knows life doesn't update you about your credit card. So meet Eno, the Capital One assistant that catches things that might look wrong and helps you fix them. Another way Capital One is watching out for your money when you're not. What's in your wallet?
If you live with diabetes, why fingerstick when you can scan? With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, just scan the sensor with your reader, iPhone, or Android and manage your diabetes. With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, a continuous glucose monitor, you can check your glucose levels anytime without fingersticks. Ask your doctor to write a prescription for the Freestyle Libre 14-day system. You can do it without fingersticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
Today's Best Western. What does that mean?
With rewards points that never expire, you get free nights fast. Now get a $20 Best Western gift card after your first day. Book now at bestwestern.com.
The Home Depot's making finding your color easier than ever. Whatever inspires you, discover the perfect color with popular palettes online. Get free delivery on samples and convenient new paint selection tools in store. Get a colorful new experience and everything you'll need, like gallons of Behr Premium Plus from $24.98. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
When I am helping a customer, I need to treat everybody the way I would want them to treat my family. I am a country girl, so that's what we do. I want them to know that I really want to help you. That's what I'm here for. People may not remember what you say, but they always remember how you make them feel. My name is Lola, and I am proud to keep your car running newer, longer.
Fixed right, priced right, right on time. The Triple Promise, only at Firestone Complete Auto Care.
Again, guys, we've got Hurricane Barry now, 75 miles per hour. That is a minimal Category 1 hurricane, up from the 70 from just a couple of hours ago. Still watching it crawl ashore. We should actually have a new update coming up in about 30 minutes as to where it is. All right, probably somewhere between 25 and 30 miles per hour. But look at this. Again, this is out of Bay St. Louis in Mississippi. Nowhere near the center, but they are east of this asymmetric or lopsided center, and that wind is pushing all that water up against the seawall and in some cases over the top of it. All right, same thing we find in southeast Louisiana. We know that Highway 1 down there to Grand Island is closed because of the water there that's down in Lafourche Parish. Plenty of water there. We've also got water going on at the top of the levee in Plaquemines Parish. Now, a lot of these areas were evacuated because these are earthen levees. They aren't protected by the levee system that does protect New Orleans. So this is just trying to hold back the water from coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. And of course, at the same time, remember, you got water that's coming out from the very high Mississippi River. And that was the big concern a couple of days ago when the forecast here in New Orleans was 20 feet. That forecast has since gone down. All right. What if somebody had a special love for meteorology and they just happen to find themselves and their family in the right place for Barry? That's my buddy Ryan Rhodes here, who's from Houston.
Yes, sir.
He's got 20 storms that he's covered, but he's always had a love for tropical meteorology. And you were in Harvey, though. I want to talk about that.
Yes.
You and your family were dealing with Harvey. Tell us about that.
Well, we live in Friendswood, Texas, just south of Houston. We had about 44 to 46 inches of rain in the Friendswood area, and we were constantly being bombarded with storm after storm. So we had 2 different rounds during Harvey. We had one Saturday night,
right? Yes, I remember.
And then 2 days later, It hit again on a Tuesday. And we were not affected directly in our area of the woods, but a lot of our friends and family in the surrounding area was.
What did you think about that? Because you have such a special interest in tropical meteorology. I mean, you know as well as I do, when something comes in and stalls or is moving slow, you saw what Allison did.
Yeah.
These prolific rainfall events,
Yeah.
but 60 inches of rain.
Yeah, it's crazy. What's funny about that Saturday night, there was a really big boxing match on. And I had spent like $100 on a pay-per-view to watch the boxing match. Well, then I saw some rain bands coming in, and you know how they train up in the same area, and I knew it was right over Friendswood. I didn't watch 1 second of the boxing match. I just had it glued to you guys actually on the Weather Channel watching the bands come in, and that's when I knew we were in trouble.
But how is that like to be, all of a sudden I'm looking at the weather, I'm following it, I'm forecasting it, and now all of a sudden, you know what, my family's here, do I have to do something? It's kind of a different mode, isn't it?
It gets scary. It gets scary. There's a couple of times where, you're debating whether or not you need to start moving things up, off the ground, and I was walking to the back of our neighborhood, there's a creek over there, and I saw some of those houses get literally an inch from water.
Wow.
And so you don't even want to drive your car, because if your car's puts up a wake, you're pushing water into other people's houses. So,
that's true. And we see that all the time here on Bourbon Street.
Yes.
And we saw it Wednesday when we had the big. Were you guys here during that?
We were not here yet, but I saw the video.
You saw the video of that, and that's really the concern here, isn't it?
And it went down pretty quick that day.
Well, yeah. Once the rain stops, then the pumps can really crank out and get the water out of here.
Absolutely.
But the problem is do we get that rainfall rate over the next couple of days? Let's hope not.
Yeah, let's hope that convection doesn't sweep around to the east side.
So vacation for you? You guys are just going to kind of ride this thing out, or?
We're trying to leave tomorrow. We had a family vacation scheduled for Gulf Shores, so we're going to see if that still pans out. But right now, that's the plan.
Could be a little ugly because we're going to have all this stuff come on shore.
Yeah.
Good luck with you, brother. Thanks for talking to us. Okay, nice to meet you as well, and your lovely family out here, kind of trouncing through the rain. But you know what? Think about it. We're all kind of big kids. Who doesn't like to jump in puddles? We just haven't had rain that heavy yet here to do that. Again, guys, if you're just joining us, we have Hurricane Barry. Just enough wind, if you will, measurements from the SFMR instrument on the hurricane under aircraft to upgrade that to a hurricane. And it's kind of interesting when you look at that instrument. When they did reanalysis of Michael, they went back and they added the 5 miles per hour to get that from a 155 Cat 4 to 160 mile per hour Category 5. Now, this thing is going to be no Michael whatsoever. If you remember that, this was a system that had no shear, unlike Barry, which has had shear. And what's, I think, one of the more amazing things to me is even under shear, even under northerly shear, where a system's moving from south to north, this thing was allowed to go from a 40 to a 50 to a 70 to a now 75 mile per hour hurricane. So that just shows you the tenacity of Barry and wanting to keep on going. I had a buddy named Barry. He's not with us anymore, but that pretty much reminds me of him and his personality. Stick around, guys. Does this fresh water that's been a problem and created this big dead zone get mixed up enough by Barry so that it takes it out of the way? Dr. Tracy Finara will join us from the Mote Aquarium to talk about just that. Stick around.
This is Mia. This is Mia's pulse. With pressure rising and racing. This is also Mia's pulse that her doctor keeps in check so she can find balance. This is Mia's pulse, and now it's more stable than ever. This is what Medicare from Blue Cross Blue Shield does for Mia. And with over 80 years of healthcare expertise, imagine what we can do for you. This is the benefit of Blue.
What will you do when the power goes out? Power outages are increasing and lasting longer than ever before. They can be unpredictable, inconvenient, and disruptive to your life. Your safety and security may be at risk. But with a Generac home standby generator, your life goes on uninterrupted because you'll have power when you need it the most. Generac home standby generators provide peace of mind for you and your loved ones.
You can't replace that sense of security that you get when you have a Generac.
Having a Generac is definitely peace of mind.
When the power goes out, I'm like, go ahead. I've got the Generac.
Get the safety, security, and peace of mind your family deserves with a home standby generator from Generac. Call to schedule a free in-home assessment and receive a free 7-year extended warranty with your purchase, a $695 value. Call or go online today. Power your life with Generac.
Honey, time to go.
Guess what?
What?
Coach said I get to play forward today.
Wow.
If I score a goal, I'm gonna go like this. Uh-huh. Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Then I'm gonna do something like this. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And oh yeah, it's your turn to
bring this.
How many teammates do you have again?
Frito-Lay variety packs, packed with possibilities.
To look at me now, you don't see psoriasis. You see clear skin.
You see me.
But if you saw me before Cosentyx,
I was covered. It was awful.
but I didn't give up. I kept fighting.
I got clear skin with Cosentyx.
3 years and counting. Clear skin can last.
See if Cosentyx could make a difference for you. Cosentyx is proven to help people with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis find clear skin that can last. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting Cosentyx, you should be checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, or if you've received a vaccine or plan to. If you have inflammatory bowel disease, tell your doctor if symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions may occur.
See me now. I'm still clear.
How sexy are these elbows?
Get clear skin that can last. Ask your dermatologist about Cosentyx.
Good cast, buddy.
Thanks.
From laser-measured floor liners to Sunshade, the cup phone to secure your phone, to Tech Liner for your bed and tailgate, Bump Step.
Oh, can I hold it?
Yeah, good job,
To
bud.
no-drill mud flaps.
Wow, look at that.
WeatherTech has everything you need to keep your truck protected all year long. Order yours today at WeatherTech.com, the ultimate protection for your vehicle.
Thank you for staying with us live here on the Weather Channel as we continue to track now Hurricane Barry, a very low-grade Category 1, but a Category 1 nonetheless. It is dumping rain here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and we have the winds as well. I'm Justin Michaels live for you in Baton Rouge right now, where about 8,000 customers are currently without power, and the rain has certainly begun to come down pretty heavy. What's to come? More rain. And that's the big concern. Will this rain go to the 8 to 12-inch range like they're expecting? Could it go more than that? Could we have something like we had back in 2016? Could we have enough flooding rain that it causes major trouble across the city? It was just earlier this year we had a fatality. Somebody died in their car because of flash flooding. This is a city that knows about flooding, and it's on everybody's mind as Barry comes ashore. Let's talk to Deputy Chief Johnny Dunham with the police department here in Baton Rouge. Chief, thanks for being with us.
Hey, thank you.
As you move around town this morning, the rain has started, the wind is here. What are you seeing around town?
Well, right now we're starting to see some down trees. We're starting to see some down limbs. We're also starting to see some streets starting to get a little high water. We've positioned some barricades at certain locations that we know flood. You spoke about the June 6th incident where we had a citizen that drove into some high water and ended up dying, drowning in that water. So those locations that we know where we get high water, some of the railroad underpasses and all, we've stationed barricades, and our officers would be deploying shortly to put those barricades out. We ask that the public please stay off the roads right now, allow for our emergency vehicles to get where they need to go. If they see the barricades up or they see high water, that they try not to drive through it. You know, the old adage, turn around, don't drown, is definitely needed today.
Chief, do you think because of the flooding in 2016 and even earlier this year, people are heeding the warnings more than before?
I do. I think we're prepared a little better after 2016. I think we got caught flat-footed in 2016. It was just a storm that hung over and dropped 20 to 30 inches of rainfall on us and caused a vast amount of flooding. So I think the public is heeding the warning this time, and I think that they're prepared. We're prepared, and they're prepared a little better.
Now, got off to a little bit of a late start. The rain's not really kicking in until now. We're originally thinking maybe last evening, overnight last night, and all of a sudden this morning people wake up and it was dry.
Right.
Does that give people a false sense of, hey, it's not going to happen?
Yeah, we don't want to see people get complacent. I think the storm took a little longer to get here than we expected, but now that it's here, we ask them to stay off the roads and to stay safe, stay hunkered down inside until we kind of get the all clear.
Baton Rouge Deputy Police Chief Johnny Dunham, we appreciate your time. Thank you for having us in your city. So, Jim, as we send it back to you in New Orleans, I'll tell you what, this is a city that certainly has all those very recent memories on their minds, and I guess that's a little bit of good news for people going into this storm to hopefully keep people safe. Jim, to you now.
Yeah, and hopefully Mother Nature will underachieve. I mean, we always hope that. People think, we want these things to be gigantic storms, Justin, but we don't. We love it when they underachieve, actually. All right, let's, a lot of times we talk about the land impacts, what's happening on shore, how much rain we're going to get, how much storm surge we're going to get, but, let's think about the situation that we've got going on right now in the Gulf of Mexico. We've had so much fresh water from the Midwestern floods flood out into the Gulf of Mexico. We've actually created what is known as a dead zone. But does Barry have enough in it to mix that out and actually help the Gulf of Mexico dead zone? Well, that's bringing my good friend, Inspector Planet, Dr. Tracy Fanara. She will have some answers for us. Dr. Fanara, let's talk about this. First of all, explain to our viewers what the dead zone is and how big it is this year.
Hi. So the dead zone they occur, hypoxia or lack of oxygen occurs all over the world. But this dead zone happens to be the second largest in the world because we have 38% of the United States runoff coming to one area. So when we have that fresh water coming into the Gulf of Mexico, with all that nutrients from agriculture and wastewater overflows, all of that coming into the Gulf of Mexico, we have this freshwater layer, high nutrients, algae blooms form, and then when they decompose, that whole process uptakes oxygen even further, decreasing the oxygen to levels that native species cannot exist. So that's the situation that we have, and it's predicted to be as big as Massachusetts by August. However, storms like this can potentially mix that water, reoxygenating the area. However, those storms also bring more surface water. So we can probably see that hypoxic event reoccur even if we do get that mixing.
All right, so let's talk. I mean, what seafood, shellfish does this impact the most? I got about a minute.
So shellfish, harvesters, anything that is taken from that area, you're not going to see many saltwater fish in that area from that hypoxic event. But again, likely we'll get some mixing, and then it will be back to hypoxia soon. The one thing that might change is that estimated size of August. These kind of storms can change that estimation or approximation of the size of that hypoxic event.
All right, so Tracy, do me a favor, stick around. Let's talk about what may happen from this. Also, maybe bring up a couple of examples. Let's say Isaac, if that was an issue, or even Katrina, because people forget the second landfall, or not Katrina, but the second landfall of even Andrew back in '92 came up this way toward Louisiana. And I want to ask you what the actual result was. That you mentioned a little something about that, but I want to talk about that more. We'll do that right after the break. Our coverage of Barry continues.
Life doesn't give you many second chances. But a Subaru can.
You guys okay?
You all right?
Eyesight with pre-collision braking. Standard on the Subaru Ascent. Presenting the 3-row Subaru Ascent. Love is now bigger than ever.
With Domino's Carry-Out Insurance, we'll remake your order for free if anything happens to it on the way home, even if it's not your fault. Like if it's whoever that guy's chasing's fault. Or if it's man's best friend's fault. Or even if it is, ultimately, your fault. Carry out Domino's large 3-topping pizzas for $7.99 each. With Domino's carry-out insurance, just bring it back and we'll remake it for free.
With bipolar I disorder, it can feel like there's too much to do. And you need to do it all. But mania, such as unusual changes in your mood, activity, or energy levels, can leave you on shaky ground. Help take control by asking your healthcare provider about Vraylar. Vraylar treats acute mania of bipolar I disorder. Vraylar significantly reduces overall manic symptoms and was proven in adults with mixed episodes who have both mania and depression. Vraylar should not be used in elderly patients with dementia due to increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about fever, stiff muscles, or confusion, which may mean a life-threatening reaction, or uncontrollable muscle movements, which may be permanent. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. High cholesterol, weight gain, high blood sugar, and decreased white blood cells, both of which can be serious or fatal, dizziness upon standing, falls, seizures, impaired judgment, heat sensitivity, and trouble swallowing may occur. Ask your healthcare provider if Vraylar can help you find your balance.
This is 30 calories. This is 30 calories. This is not going to cut it. This will. V8. The V is for vegetables. Drink some.
Coors Light is cold packaged. For peak refreshment. The world's most refreshing beer, Coors Light.
I cannot imagine managing my diabetes without my Dexcom.
This is the Dexcom G5 Mobile Continuous Glucose Monitoring System. A small wearable sensor measures your glucose every 5 minutes and sends the data to a Dexcom receiver.
Dexcom helps lower A1C and improves quality of life. If you're over 65 and you have diabetes, you should have a Dexcom.
If you get a Dexcom, you're going to be very glad that you did.
Visit DexcomNow.com to learn more.
Thank you so much.
New purple, eh, Deb?
He's always wanted to try one.
Well, they have a 100-night trial, so...
Everyone wants to sleep better, and can. Purple makes it easy with free shipping and our 100-night trial. For a limited time, choose a free Purple product with mattress purchase at purple.com/TV.
This is epic!
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
We've got a severe weather threat.
We are live on the ground. Right now, it's coming down.
The Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 84 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Today, abundant sunshine. High 88. Winds west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, generally clear. Low 75. Winds west-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunday, mainly sunny. High 89. Winds northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
And good morning, everybody. Again, our continuing coverage of Hurricane Barry. Yeah, it's a 75-mile-an-hour hurricane now from downtown New Orleans here, right on Bourbon Street, which is, I think, probably a little below average in terms of the action. But they are stocking up. They plan on opening business as usual. And so far, so good. But we do expect some of the worst impacts to come in tonight and potentially even for a good part of the day tomorrow. So a lot of you will follow suit in that. Before the break, we were talking to Dr. Tracy Fanara, a.k.a. Inspector Planet, about the dead zone that happens with fresh water coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, which has salinity, or it's a saltwater body of water. And will Barry mix that out a little bit? Dr. Fanara, thanks for hanging with us. We appreciate that. So let's take. You said it may briefly mix it out. Is that something we've seen in past cases with other hurricanes here?
It is. We saw that with Hurricane Dolly. We even saw that with Katrina, of course. But even that Category 5 hurricane, 2 weeks later, scientists went out and found hypoxia again. So it's very likely to return. It's just that prediction that might change.
So it mixes it out, but then the fresh water that comes from the storm, once it gets inland, comes back out and basically reestablishes itself. Right?
You're exactly right. So exactly how this happened in the first place was all that rainfall, and now we're bringing a new surface water runoff that is going to repeat that same action.
Inspector Planet, Dr. Tracy Fanara, thank you for adding insight to that. I thought maybe we'd get a little bonus, frankly, from what could happen here. Okay, but no, as you just heard about from Dr. Fanara, that's not the case. Great follow, by the way, on Instagram, Dr. Tracy Fanara. Let's talk about, we got some new video in, Lisa. Where am I going here again with this new video? I want to tell everybody where we're going because we're constantly getting new stuff in.